What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? I appreciate you guys for being here. I want to talk about the Cuba protests that are going on, just my analysis of what is going on, because it's very different from a lot of people, especially from conservatives, because I just see it a little bit differently. So I'm going to share that. I also want to talk about Haiti, Belarus, Tanzania, and other countries who rejected the lockdown sort of stuff. What's going on there? Because I see something going on there. And also, I want to talk about the Hong Kong protests because I just, I'm not making a theory or anything. I'm just analyzing the news. But there's just, certain things that I see that I don't see a lot of people talking about. And I also want to talk about Ted Cruz, something he said that really rubbed me the wrong way. And I'll probably start with that. But as people are coming in, I'm in a good mood. I got orange juice in my hand. Oh, I'm sorry. I got Bob Ross on my shirt. Y'all see the Bob Ross on the shirt. So I'm not trying to turn up because this is a serious news show, but I have a song called Bob Ross and I was wearing the shirt. I got orange juice. So just as people are coming in, just don't mind me. Just come on. Excuse me. Bob Ross. Okay. You don't want to cause a problem. I'll solve it, Bob Ross. All I do is win. Don't mess with the king. For real, Bob Ross. Sorry. I had to start with the energy of Bob Ross because sometimes I get upset on my live streams. I start arguing with my audience and I can't do that today. What would Bob Ross do, right? Bob Ross would probably be petting a bird. He'd be like, I just found this bird. This hummingbird was just floating near me and something about that. And I'm like, you're damn right, Bob Ross. So sometimes I get a little carried away. I'm going to try to harness the energy of Bob Ross for this live stream because I'm going to need it. Before I start, as everybody's coming in, what's going on? Two things I want to say. First, I want to say, if you check the description on Facebook or YouTube, I have a clips channel. It's called Dream Rare Clips. I'm taking short clips of all my live streams, the best short clips, and also short clips from my news analysis. Because sometimes there's certain things that aren't easy to share, like Helen Keller, how she supported socialism. I have a little clip of that, 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute clips. So subscribe to my YouTube clips channel. Another thing, tomorrow there's an announcement, usaproductsonly.com. Anomaly, what are you doing? What are you doing? Not as much as I could be doing, but I do have a website, usaproductsonly.com. We have added over 161 businesses, and I'm going to send out an update over that. We're very excited about that. Third thing I want to talk about is Ted Cruz, man. I hate to be a complainer, but this just shows you what the GOP is. Before I talk about Cuba and what's going on there with the communism and such, here's Ted Cruz. I thought this was a parody account. Seriously, this is so stupid that I thought it was like a parody of Ted Cruz. I can't believe this guy really said this. He tweeted out just like a couple hours ago, it's time to end the mask mandates for fully vaccinated Americans on airplanes. So Ted Cruz is saying it's time to end the mask mandates, not for everybody on airplanes, but only for fully vaccinated people. Thanks for nothing, Ted Cruz. It's like the GOP is so pathetic. It's like the left wing flies towards socialism. The left wing flies towards tyranny and authoritarianism. The left wing slides towards psychosis. And that's all the GOP can do. They can just play controlled op. Well, what if I have a vaccine? Can I stop wearing my mask now? Screw you, Ted Cruz. No offense. I mean, I'm sure if I saw the guy, we'd get along. But it's like, come on, bro. Well, what are you conserving? I can't not take off my mask on a plane, according to Ted Cruz. That's the GOP. Oh yeah, they're fighting for our freedoms. They are such frauds. They are such phonies. And these people should be shamed everywhere they speak. Boo, Ted Cruz, you suck. Until he says, you know what? Actually, regardless of your medical history, I think people should be able to breathe on an airplane. Not, I'm going to play into vaccine segregation. That's what he's doing. He's playing into vaccination segregation. He's playing into this idea that you don't deserve your freedoms back if you don't get the jab. Screw you, Ted Cruz, and most of the GOP. I'm so tired of these people. Anomaly, you complain about Trump too much. It's like, do you not see what these people are doing, folks? Do you not see how fake they are? Do you not see that they're just putting on a show for you at CPAC and then they turn around and just whap you right behind? It's like someone said he got hammered on his Facebook for saying that. I'm glad. The conservative base needs to, it's like they should be booed until they realize that that's stupid. I want to talk about more important things, but I saw that and I'm like, what a perfect representation of everything the GOP doesn't do for us. Come on, loser. He should be shamed. Anyway. I'm sure he's a nice guy, though. I'm sure we can sit, have a drink, and love. But come on, bro. That's Texas. That's the Texas spirit. Whatever. Thank you, native mind. All right, so the story today, there's Cuba protests, right? They're protesting in Cuba. All the conservative accounts are saying, yeah, yeehaw, because, I've spoken to people from Cuba. From what I've heard, a lot of people have escaped to America because there's not as much, prosperity. I don't think the economy is as good. And Cuba went a very unique route to cut itself off from a lot of the rest of the world. They drive older cars and they don't connect with America and a lot of other countries. So, certain things don't operate as well there, and it's not really the most prosperous place. So there's thousands of Cubans that I know that love America and are pumped to see, Cubans fighting against communism. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just see it from a different angle, and I see what they're doing on all fronts. And I'll give you an example. So let's talk about real quick Haiti. Recently, the president of Haiti got assassinated, and I don't know why. It could have been from a rebel group. It could have been from an opposition. He could have been a great leader. He could have been a bad leader. I don't live in Haiti. I don't know the full angle of it. I'm not pretending to. But one thing I do know is the president of Haiti was not accepting American coronavirus vaccines. He was talking about plant-based healing and how they have herbs and plants to heal. The media was stunned because despite the fact that Haiti's president wasn't doing lockdowns, there weren't really mask mandates. People were out just, talking and going to clubs and acting normally in Haiti. The death rate was astronomically low, and the media was shocked. The scientists were shocked. People like the world, they were blown away because they're like, well, we've been telling the rest of the world that if you don't do this, there's just going to be rapid death rates. And Haiti was one of the countries that proved, we don't need to lock down. We don't need your vaccines. We don't need your, your mask mandates. And our death rate is not crazy high. And you can find news all over the place. A lot of people are sharing it on Instagram, Twitter, I'm sure Facebook. They're sharing these news segments mainstream where they're admitting what I'm saying. This is not my theory. You have like mainstream news saying we can't figure out why the death rate's not higher. It's really low. And they're talking about the president. So anyway, the president gets assassinated and his body's not even cold yet. And you have Jen Psaki, on television saying, well, we're getting vaccines to Haiti. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it's interesting that he didn't want them and he wasn't using them and he's dead and now they're getting vaccines. President of Tanzania, I did a whole thing on him, John Magufuli. He was a very smart guy, a doctor. He had a college degree. I mean, this guy was no dummy. He studied this type of stuff. And he kind of went a similar route. He wasn't interested in all this Western medicine. He was trying it his own way, and he died. And then, you have Belarus, the leader's still alive, but his name is Lukashenko. And by the way, I just want to let you guys know for the record, I'm just analyzing the news. I don't know these people. I don't live there. I've talked to people from Russia and Belarus that don't like Lukashenko. I've talked to people that, I know people that don't like Putin. They like him. That, I'm not justifying. Same with when I talk about Cuba. I'm not saying right or wrong, good or bad. This person's great. I'm just letting you know the angle when it comes to coronavirus. Belarus's president, he's often known as a dictator, Lukashenko. He also didn't, he wasn't into the COVID lockdown. He said he was playing hockey, and there's like a famous quote of his. He said something like, just drink vodka and go in the sauna. Like, what's the deal? There's a really interesting speech of him where he went off against lockdowns. This is just I think it's financial, what is it, FP, what is that, foreignpolicy.com. It says, in Belarus, Lukashenko bets no on lockdown, and, he spoke out against them and didn't do it. And he had an election. He was running last year against some woman who was more liberal, the opposition party. She lost. But anyway, here's what I'm trying to tell you. Just like with Ted Cruz with the mask mandate, you had people in the Trump administration like Richard Grenell were supporting these massive, massive protests. There were huge protests in Belarus. This was last year. And people like Richard Grenell were like, yeah, like, these protests, like, yeah, we support freedom. We support democracy because that's what America does. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not obsessed with Lukashenko. I don't think he's a great person or anything. I'm sure there's things he's done that are wrong. But I'm like, why would the Republican Party in America be supporting the more liberal party in Belarus when the leader of Belarus is one of the only presidents who didn't lock down? I just found that kind of weird that they were supporting the more liberal side. I know that this leader has some other problems and stuff. I mean, some gay, minister from Germany said he's a dictator, and Lukashenko responded, yeah, I'm a dictator, but at least I'm not gay. It's better than being gay. So he says stuff like that. He's totally unfiltered. He doesn't care if people call him a dictator or not. I mean, he's a wild guy. He's like, just drink vodka and go in a sauna. Like, the dude does not give a shit. It's pretty funny, actually. But I don't live there, so I don't have to deal with whatever else he's doing. So anyway, it's like anytime a president doesn't play ball, it seems like the system, one way or another, is upset with them, and other people don't really last that long, just to be quite fair. So here's something I found interesting with Cuba and even the Hong Kong protests. But let's start with Cuba, okay? Obviously, there's the angle that, Cuba's been communist for a long time. The people of Cuba have been suffering for a long time, or at least some people have been suffering. A lot of people escaped to America, and they love America. So I'm not like a Cuba communist socialist shill or anything. I'm not a big fan of either of those, socialism, communism. No offense to Cuba. I'm American. I'm not Cuban. I'm Puerto Rican, Italian. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. I sound super Puerto Rican, but I don't know anything about Cuba. So I'm not here to tell you this or that. But what I did find interesting is you have all these right wingers supporting it. Yay, freedom, freedom, freedom. They're getting democracy. And here's the Wall Street Journal today. It says Cuban protests demand freedom, food, and COVID-19 vaccines. So they're trying to tie into the freedom movement of Cuba. They're protesting for vaccines. That's what they really want. And because Cuba's blockaded off from a lot of the world with their, economic policies and domestic policies, they're not accepting Western COVID-19 vaccines. They created their own vaccine, actually. And, there's arguments over how good or bad it is because they created their own vaccine. So I just find it interesting that I'm like, okay, they got all these Republicans to support the protests against Cuba, and the media is spinning it as like, we need to get them some vaccines. I'm just saying, I just find it interesting. And I do think, to be quite honest, I'm not a fan of Cuban communism, but I do think, and this is just my opinion, my perspective, my analysis, I think Cuba's, domestic communism is a threat to the global communism. And I think it's not so much about we're trying to help the people of Cuba, in my opinion. I think it's like, well, yeah, if they're not playing ball with the rest of the global communists who want to dictate what everyone else does in the world, I think that seems to be more of a problem of what people see. Because it's like, you got all these right wingers fighting for freedom in Cuba. And I'm not comparing Cuba and the US. I'm grateful to be American. No offense. I don't want to live in Cuba. I'm very blessed and fortunate for what I have. And I'm very, very grateful to be in America. With that being said, I'm not that thrilled with what the Republican Party is doing here. It's like you got Ted Cruz, who's supposed to be one of the most badass Republicans, telling us that he supports vaccination segregation on planes, and he thinks it's time to end mask mandates only for fully vaccinated people. So just to be honest, I don't think America's as bad as Cuba per se. I'm not grateful, but this is the thing with America. Is there any party that actually cares about America? You got Republicans that'll hee-haw, yee-haw over Cuba, but it's like, yo, we're going in a very bad path here, where I'm not saying it's as bad as Cuba, but it will be in 10 years at this rate. So I'm focused on America. If Cuba wants to do that and Cuba wants to be Cuba, I don't think America's in the position right now to go around the world and spread our democracy, especially from a political party and a political movement like the Trump movement, where most people in that movement don't even have a lot of faith in the election that just happened in our country. So this idea that Republicans and conservatives all of a sudden think that America's supporting the Cuban protests because America cares about freedom and democracy there and fair elections, when that same base doesn't even believe in the last election and they're complaining, it just seems like a trap, in my opinion. And the same thing with Hong Kong protests. Listen, this is just my analysis. This is just my perspective. I have no intel or insight. I'm just analyzing the news and reading what everyone else is. But I find it weird when people who never agree on something, they all of a sudden agree on something. It just weirds me out because Nancy Pelosi, Donald Trump, George Soros, Mike Pompeo, Ted Cruz, these are people who don't agree on anything. Pelosi and Soros, but there is one thing that they did agree on, and that was the Hong Kong protests. If you search George Soros Hong Kong protests, you can find out that George Soros supported the Hong Kong protests. How nice of him. If you search Pompeo Hong Kong protests, You can find out Pompeo supported the Hong Kong protests. This was before COVID-19. If you search Trump and Pelosi, everyone supports the Hong Kong protests. Isn't that nice? Soros, Pelosi, Trump, Pompeo, everyone's coming together for democracy and freedom in Hong Kong. And they're waving America organically. And interestingly enough, China's government accused America of getting involved with the Hong Kong protests. At the time, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo denied that. He said that that's blasphemous, preposterous, whatever. He's like, there's no way that we would get involved. And I'm not saying they were. I have no idea what they're doing. But to me, I'm just like, okay, they're waving America flags. All these people from the left and right are getting so gung-ho about it. Me, naturally, yeah, I think Hong Kong should be free. But something just didn't sit right with me with that. I'm not going to lie. I'm just like, the only thing that they ever agree on is like regime change in Venezuela and a Hong Kong protest. Obviously, I think there's always going to be, America has foreign and domestic things that they do in order to, Afghanistan, Iraq. There's decisions that they make, overseas that they're competing with China. They're in Iran and, China, Russia's involved in Iran. In Venezuela, same thing. These foreign countries, everybody's vying for certain spots. So I just find it interesting. Like Republicans are always like, oh, we're going to free Venezuela. I'm not saying you shouldn't make Venezuela better. But if you think Pompeo and Trump and Nancy Pelosi care about socialism, like you're wrong. They don't give a crap. I think they're there for geopolitical reasons. I don't think they care about giving food to the Venezuelan people. I think they just have a, battle with other countries. All I'm saying with the communist thing in Cuba, I'm not saying that Cuba should or shouldn't protest. I don't know. I don't live there. But I do find it fascinating that they're one of the very few countries in the world that aren't accepting outside vaccines. They're doing their own vaccines. And, there's not many countries like that. So the timing of you have the Haiti president, well, he's gone. And now they're giving vaccines to Haiti. And now Cuba, who didn't have a Western vaccine, now there's a big protest. And you're going to see both sides support it. You're going to see everyone support it. Do they care about the Cuban people? Are they trying to stop communism? I'm not even convinced they're trying to stop communism in my own country. And that's creepy. So this idea that all these Republicans are going to stop communism in Cuba when they aren't even doing a good job stopping it here, I don't believe it. That's my take. I know some people have family from Cuba. They know it better and they're pumped over this. But that's just an interesting angle that I've seen. And I see it a trend. Anytime there's a country that really does something different, you finally see both parties kind of come together and, agree with a protest or a movement. And in my opinion, it would be equivalent. I'm not comparing this to Cuba, but, there was a women's march, correct? You remember that? The women's march, it's huge. It was very big in Los Angeles. I would say hundreds of thousands of people, maybe. If we were another country, you could say, well, look at that. Look how many people are protesting. Wow. I mean, we really got to get this guy out of there. And that is what they tried to do with President Trump. So I think people, when you see a protest, whether it's in Belarus, Hong Kong, Cuba, anywhere, it's an interesting filter to put it through before you just see an American flag waving. I think to myself, how easy would it be to just put someone there with an American flag? And now you got all the Republicans involved. But I always, I'm not saying that happened, but I look at it through that lens where the same thing that they do to other countries, they do to us as well. So, just because I see a protest there, I'm questioning if they're trying to fight communism or if they're just trying to get a Western vaccine into Cuba like they did into Haiti and other countries. But let me know what you guys think. That's just my take right off the bat. And like I said, anytime I see the left and the right wing, there's only a few things that they ever agree on, just to be honest. It's like regime change in Venezuela, fighting wars in the Middle East, supporting and giving our taxpayer money to Israel, and then like Hong Kong protests. You can't even get clean water to Michigan. You can't get them. They can't even agree on the American people. I don't even think our political parties care about us. And then like they come together over a country. And I'm like, I know that it would be nice to help these countries, but we have to help ourselves first. And I think what better symbol of us not helping ourselves first than one of the coolest Republicans putting out a tweet and a Facebook post that says it's time to end the mask mandate for fully vaccinated Americans on airplanes, suggesting that if you don't get the double mRNA jab or the Johnson & Johnson shot, Ted Cruz doesn't care about you. He's segregate. This is like Democrats go far left and Republicans just slither with them and act like they're fighting. I'm so tired of it. And, something to think about, because with the Tokyo Olympics, no fans, with England and a lot of these other countries, they're not free. We're in a special place right now. And this is my message to conservatives, Republicans. Like, you should really keep your eyes on these other countries and don't fall for who, I don't really care who it is, Democrat, Obama, Biden, Pelosi, Trump, Cruz. Like, at this point, no offense, none of them can do anything for me. I've seen what they've done. I see what they're doing. They need to be, in my opinion, shamed, like Ted Cruz. Bro, what you're doing is whack. That is very whack. Playing into this idea that we should segregate rules for vaccinate. That's what he's doing. He's supporting vaccination segregation. Ted Cruz should be ashamed of himself. He's not a patriot. He's not a conservative. He's not a freedom fighter. He is a slightly less authoritarian than Pelosi. And what does that mean? Nothing. So God bless Cuba. God bless Haiti. God bless Tanzania. God bless Africa. God bless Europe. God bless Germany. God bless France. God bless the whole world. But it's time for American patriots in America to not get sidetracked by all these other things that you think we're helping, and start looking at our own team, our own side, our own party, our own people, because they do a good job of hyping everybody up just to, misdirect you 6 months later, and then you just wasted 6 months. So, our freedom is in a place where it's never been before, and it's not guaranteed. And if we follow the patterns of the rest of the world, it's not going to be there for that long. So, I think definitely, like I've been doing, not to pat myself on the back, but like I've been doing, I don't think Trump and Ted Cruz, they don't need your applause. They don't need your support. They need people to shame them until they do what's right. Because from Trump to Cruz, they've not only not done what's right, but over the last year, they've gone further left than Andrew Yang from 2 years ago. And nobody even seems to notice. And they cry when I say it. But what better example of one of the biggest Republicans just showing you who they really are? They'll put on a show for you. You'll clap, they'll applause, build a wall, audit. They'll say whatever they need to say. But when push comes to shove on our freedoms and our liberty and the COVID-19 crisis that has taken away so much of our stuff, somehow they're always on the wrong side. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like they don't care. I don't know if they do or not, but they will care if enough people ratio them and say boo. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Sonny, I was going to answer that question, but I something about, no offense, I'm in a good mood today, but something about your attitude just really, I really don't like Sonny. Don't super chat me today because I'm not going to read them. She said, anomaly, what's your stance on abortion? He ain't going to say. I don't mind answering the question, but saying he ain't going to say, it's like you're always being very rude and condescending. So save your money. Okay. Don't super chat me today. I'm not going to read them, Sonny. I don't have time for your little jabs and your like passive aggressive vibes. I'm not interested. Let's see. Someone said Texas, Mexico border is a disaster. Ted needs to wake up. They know how to, the Republicans know how to put the show on that you want them to put on. Like they'll talk about things that you care about, but they'll never actually address the things that are the most important. But they know how to finesse. Like that statement that he's made, it's time to end mask mandates for fully vaccinated Americans on airplanes. Honestly, he should be ashamed of himself. That's a disgraceful, pathetic, cowardly. He's playing into this idea that that's what he's saying. If you don't get the jab, you don't deserve the same freedoms as people with the jab. Ted Cruz, you are a betrayal to the American people. You are a fraud. This is how people should treat him until he realizes he's a fraud. That's what he's telling you. He doesn't think as a Texas, ooh, rough and tumble Texas. Oh, I got my cowboy hat on. I don't care if you wear 10 cowboy hats and you dress like Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. If you're trying to segregate the public, how in the world do people in Texas think this guy is on their side? I'm glad he's getting ratioed on Facebook. That's exactly what he deserves. Peaceful, noncompliance, and peaceful shame. The Republicans don't need to do anything because people love when they lie to them. They're like, well, Trump, he was fighting this. It's like shame until they figure it out. That's what I think. A Republican in 2021 supporting the idea that you don't deserve to be free and you don't deserve the same rights as somebody. Doesn't matter if you're 700, they're 700 pounds and you're a fitness guy who hasn't been sick in 5 years. You shouldn't deserve the freedoms. Ted Cruz, you are a coward, a pathetic wimp, fraud, betrayal. Shame on you, Ted Cruz. You're disgusting. You are a wicked man, Ted Cruz. He should apologize for this immediately. If not, I can't believe anybody would ever support this guy again. Someone said you should low-key be a comedian. I'm high-key a comedian because it's my channel. I get to say what I want. So thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. I just can't even, I can believe it, but it's like, I can't believe people like clap for this stuff. This is why they do it. He'll go to CPAC and get a bunch of claps. Unbelievable. Boss Media said, Trump's got this. All you weaklings will come back. Boss Media, not going to get into this conversation again, but this is why this stuff happens, Boss Media. Because while people are trying to stand their ground and say what they're doing is wrong, because it is, people like you say it's right. You give them positive reinforcement when they do the wrong things. You're part of the problem. This is why they do it, because you love it. You love to be lied to. You love to have your freedom stripped. Oh, you're going to come back. There is no coming back. Either you stand up now or who cares what your name is on YouTube? It's like, it's really simple. If you're a man and you're not a slave, you should let your representatives know, hey, appreciate what you're doing, but I'm not a slave. I'm not a prisoner. I'm not a second-tier citizen. And if you want to treat me like one, shame on you. That's what a real man does. What a fake man does is, you'll come back to my side. What are you doing besides giving them positive reinforcement for stripping your country? You're not only allowing it, you're justifying it, and you're getting upset at people who don't justify it. It's part of the problem. Someone said, Papa bless. Thank you, Native Mind. Appreciate it. And that's like it's like a mind. Someone said, who's your opinion of who should be the Republican president? I'm going to go 3 steps deeper than that. Life is what you make of it, okay? If you want to train, okay, no one can make you strong. If you want to be a bodybuilder, there's only one person who could do that. You have to take the time and the energy and the persistence and the dedication to be the best version of yourself you could be if that's what you want to be physically. There is no DeSantis or Trump or Anomaly or Obama. No one can help you. That's how the world is. In a relationship, whether it's with your parents, whether it's with your girlfriend, whether it's with your neighbor, whether it's with your boss, you get what you allow, okay? If you're at a job, yeah, you can allow it and that you could let them abuse you. I'm not talking about physically, but that could be too. But I'm talking, they could mentally abuse you, but at a certain point, either you could put your foot down, you could look for another job. You get what you allow. So it's not about who I think would be president. It's about, what do the American people want to allow? If you want to allow what they're doing, they do it. If you think what Ted Cruz and Trump did is awesome, you deserve it. You don't deserve freedom. Why would you? So it's not about who I want or who I'd vote for. It's about what the American people decide they want or not. Why do you think I have a platform? How did I get a bigger post than New York Times and Fox News? It doesn't even make sense. It's crazy that certain things have even happened in my life. But I made the decision to just work hard, make my own content, build, grow, and put out a certain energy and spirit that I didn't see in the media. No one can do it for you. And that's the same thing. That's the same thing as all this. It doesn't matter who's in office. If Trump was in office, most of this would still be happening. It happened last year and it would have happened this year. This is part of the problem that I'm saying. And people think I'm blaming Trump. It's like, you let this all happen during 2020 while Trump was there. He leaves, and then your main agenda is to try to get him back when he was there in 2020. And you get what I'm saying? It's people that think that he's going to save them, and that's the problem. I'm not just blaming him like everything in the world is his fault. No, it's not. It's his supporters' fault who don't do anything. You think getting back to 2020 is going to save your life when that's when it was all taken away. That's how America works. If you allow it, you get it. I'm the type of person, if I'm getting mistreated at work, I'm not there anymore. And this wasn't like I always had money. I was broke, but I made a decision. I'm going to save up enough money to live for a month. I'm going to leave this job because I don't like to be disrespected. And then I'm going to find a new one and I'm going to take a risk. And that's how I've lived my life. And that's why I don't let people treat me that way, because I never let people treat me that way. Not when I had $10 in the bank account, not when I had a lot more than that in the bank account. So it's a choice. It's your choice. It's my choice. It's the American people's choice. Doesn't matter who the president is. If the American people decide that it's unacceptable to lose this much freedom and liberty, it'll end tomorrow. If people decide that their whole life is trying to figure out how to get the audit to get the Trump back to, it's like he was there last year, he didn't help you. He was there in January of this year, he didn't help you. If he was here in April, he wouldn't have helped you in April. He wouldn't have really done anything. The country is more free now than it is last year because they opened it up. You didn't get your freedom back, they gave it to us. We didn't take it back, they gave it to us because they want to make it look like Biden's saving the country. Oh man, look at the economy's booming. So it doesn't matter who I want in office. This is half the problem is people think politicians are going to save you. So this conversation gets stale because it's like, who, if you don't like that, who do you like? I don't care who Ted Cruz is. The fact that he thinks I don't deserve to have the same freedom as somebody who got a Moderna and a Pfizer injection, Ted Cruz can go to hell for all I care. You know, I hope not. I hope he prays and goes to heaven. But if he goes to hell, at this point, I don't care. Because Ted Cruz is looking at me and saying, you don't deserve freedom in America or Texas because you didn't get the jab. Well, to be as nice as I can, F you, Ted Cruz. You're a scumbag. That's the type of man I am, for the better or worse. I mean, I'm not anybody's slave. I don't care if Trump locks me inside and flies a plane over my head trying to impress me with Air Force One. Yeah, I'm not impressed, bro. I'm not impressed with Operation Warp Speed. Sorry. And if enough people felt that way, you get what I'm saying? It's America is a manifestation of what hundreds of millions of people decided is. Your neighborhood is a product of that because certain people built the houses, certain people enforced the law, certain people created businesses, and certain people sell products. That's your community. Your community is not anything but that. You can have a Democratic area that's completely safe. How come is that? You know, people say, well, all the inner cities where all the crime is, they're all Democrats. So is Vermont. Vermont is very Democrat, but it's also one of the safest places to be. There's a lot of liberal areas and liberal cities that are super safe. Why is that? Even though the politicians are bad, why is it so safe there? Because that community is a culmination of everybody who lives there. So if you have dummy Democrat voters, but all the people there are not criminals and they don't rob each other, you have a thriving community. That's America. You know, individual communities, and then America's one big community. So America's what we decide of it. But the reason America's declining is because you have one party, the Democratic Party, that is fueling, fundraising, funding, supporting, manifesting the demise of America. That's like their whole thing. They're not only not helping, the Democrats are terrible. And then you have the Republican Party, and they just lose. They stand there, they lose, and then they become a slightly better version of the Democrats. So now Ted Cruz, something that he would have said is for Islam or is for authoritarians and communists, he now supports himself. So he's just a slightly better version. That's the dynamic. So it doesn't matter who you vote for. You could save your time, but that's America. America is a giant community. So what are we going to make of the community? It's up to you. It's up to us. So this idea that there's going to be a politician that comes through and saves your whole world, that's leading to the decline, in my opinion, because then nobody really wants to do anything. Someone said, I'm going to read this comment, not that I even have to, but someone said Anomaly is funded by the CCP. Bro, what I just said could have been like an inspirational video, like a spiritual video. It was so beyond politics and so much deeper than what you're even trying to talk about. First of all, I'm not funded by the CCP. I've never been to China. I'm not even remotely supported by anybody in China. I have nothing to do with China. Probably your favorite political advisors have more friends in business in China than I do. I have none. And that's all you could say because you can't fathom what I'm saying. So you just make up a story. You're not, and this is, I'm glad you said that because this just shows you become what you hate. And if you don't believe me, for 3 years, the Democrats tried to call me and anybody who supported Trump or anybody who was a liberal who wasn't dumb like Glenn Greenwald, they tried to call us Russian. You're Russian agents. There's no other way. You can't support Trump because they were too ignorant and too hateful to listen to what we were saying. So they called us Russian agents for 3 years. And now you spend so much time hating the left. You are the left. You're just another version of left. You can't comprehend what I'm saying. So you falsely smear me and accuse me of being a foreign agent. You know, you're lucky you're just an anonymous person online, but false accusations of that character, you know, there's consequences for that in the real world, or there should be. I don't know. America's a joke now, but you know, in the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, like if you're going to make a serious, incredible accusation of somebody being a foreign agent and funded by a foreign agent, there's nothing wrong with that. But you're supposed to, it's like if I said something dramatic and like, I better know what I'm talking about. You can't just be falsely accusing people in a real country. That's you got to, but you don't have any proof, any evidence. You have nothing because it's not true. You just have your emotions and your bitterness and your team sport, rah, don't question my team. So you are the left. You've become the exact same version of what you hated in the left. You can't compete in an intellectual discussion, so you just throw false accusations of foreign influence. You are the left. It's sad, but it is what it is. Someone said 2 wings of the same bird, and it's not hard to see. It's not like they're both doing the same things all the time. It's just they're both moving in the same direction. And you'll get certain benefits for voting for certain politicians, but at the end of the day, if one of the top 5 Republican Party leaders is telling me I can't go on a plane without a mask, here's a question for the guy who called me CCP. So Ted Cruz just said, essentially, if you don't get a Moderna or a Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson injection, Ted Cruz thinks that you should have to wear a mask on an airplane. That's Ted Cruz, okay, not me. He's fighting the CCP. If you don't have a mask and you go to an airport, where do you think the masks come from? The masks that Ted Cruz is trying to force you to wear and thinks that you should wear, where did those masks they sell at the airport come from? I'll give you a hint. China. So the Republican Party is trying to force me in a mask for not getting a big pharma injection that's made in China. And you think they're fighting the CCP? That's what you don't understand, is they're not. Someone said, I don't know enough about China to say who's right or wrong, but don't we owe China a lot of money? I'm sure we do. I think a lot of our debt is supposed to be to China. I'm pretty sure that's what they say, but if we're ever going to pay it, I don't know. Someone said America is gayer than the Soviet Union. Paul, I thought that was pretty funny, so I read it. Someone said they're all in bed with the CCP. But here's the thing, like, obviously the CCP is a big influence, but it's even bigger than that. You know, I don't even want to get into it now, but it's even bigger than that. Someone said, I can't find any articles where Ted Cruz is pushing the vaccine. Just go to his Twitter. I'll read it again. Apparently it's on his Facebook and he's getting embarrassed on his Facebook. Good. This is a tweet that he posted from his official Twitter. I'm going to read it. It's time to end mask mandates for fully vaccinated Americans on airplanes. It's time to end mask mandates for fully vaccinated Americans on airplanes. What does that mean if Ted Cruz thinks it's time to end mask mandates for fully vaccinated Americans? It means if you're not fully vaccinated, he doesn't think you should be able to take off your mask. It's right on his Twitter. And by the way, fully vaccinated is what until when? Until they decide to give you a booster. So you're fully vaccinated for tetanus until you're not, and then you get a new one. You're fully vaccinated until Israel's data comes in and they say that it's not effective and it's time for a third dose and Pfizer wants one. But yeah, Ted Cruz. This is called narratives. The left takes the narrative, they slide towards insanity with the narrative, and then the right just follows them and then just becomes a slightly less. You don't win this battle without narrative. There is no narrative. What I'm saying in the last year, that's narrative. I made up my own thing. I made up my own story, not out of nowhere, the truth, what they're not saying. The right is just toying with you guys. I want to read a meme someone sent to me. Someone sent me this meme. It's got a picture of a guy in a suit, and it says conservatives in 2040. It's making fun of conservatives who can't do anything like I'm talking about. It says every church should have only 3 trans kid priests. More than that is communism. I oppose letting Chile become our 66th state until we vote first. I hope I can get a job at the Massa P. Johnson Federal Reserve. I want to lower the bottle fresh air tax by 0.5%. It's a troll post, but basically it's joking like that's what the GOP is going to be like in 20 years. They're going to be selling air in a bottle, and the GOP will be like, well, we'll only tax you 4% for the air that we took from you. Like, they're not really doing as much as people think they're doing. But if you don't want to hear that and you want to go watch a different channel that just tells you what I'm saying somehow relates to China, knock yourself out, but it's not going to work. Let me see on Star Senders. Trey said, sometimes you piss me off, bro. Sometimes you make me laugh, but right now you're making me clap. You're spot on. Thank you, Trey. I appreciate it. Laura said, I miss America. I hear you. We're still here. Someone said, I agree, Anomaly. This is just help ushering in the proof QR code. And that's going to be Ted Cruz in 3 years. You don't need a QR code if you're fully vaccinated. It's like, shut up, Ted Cruz. But what I said 5 minutes ago really speaks a lot. If people don't live in that world and they stand up for themselves, this could end. It already could have ended, but Albert, once again, bro, you come on here, you smear me. Albert, he said Anomaly is the modern Charles Manson of social media. Albert, you come here every day, you listen to every single thing. Every day you say something wrong. Every day you say a lie. Every day you smear me. Do you realize that words have consequences, Albert? So if you compare somebody to someone who did something, you realize that, like, at a certain point, unbelievable. And then I call you out, and then I look at you right in the eyes and say, you know you're a liar, Albert. You know you're trying to smear my character. You know, if you wrote some of this stuff that you say on here, if you wrote it in an article, I could sue you for defamation if you were a journalist, but you just sit here on YouTube and try to accuse me of false things every day. Unbelievable, bro. If you don't like what I'm saying, leave, but you got to watch your tongue. Stinger says, legend has it on every conservative gravestone, the following is written. Imagine if that was a Democrat that died. That's definitely the energy of the conservative party. Sonny, if you want your money back, email me, okay? I don't want this to be the Albert and Sonny show. Albert, you got some issues, bro. You come here every day. You watch the entire stream. You say something fake and defamatory and libelous, and then I call you out, and then you cry and apologize. It's like, bro, go work out. Sonny, if you want a refund, email me. I'll give you money. I didn't say you are a Fed, Sonny. I said your tweets remind me of that. And you're always saying weird stuff and passively aggressively dissing me and saying weirdo stuff. Like, just stop, Sonny. I suggest you don't even watch the show at all anymore. But if you want a refund, email me with a receipt to everything you've spent, and I'll give you even more money than you've given to me. Just stop with this weirdo passive aggressive accusational like victim thing. Just stop. I'll give you more money than you've ever given me. Email me. It's done. And then stop watching the show. Brandon said, do you think more people are waking up? I'm starting to see people questioning the way the country's heading. Keep up the good fight. I'm an optimistic person, regardless of what people say. My life, I have battles that I'm fighting, so I don't really worry about everyone else all the time. I want to become a better version of myself. But yeah, for sure, there's a lot of progress. There's a lot of people waking up. There's a lot of, what does wake up even mean? It's, it could mean different things to different people. The left thinks they're woke. The right thinks they're woke. They like Trump. They're woke. They get deeper. They're woke. Everybody's woke. But then everyone sleeps that night. So yeah, I think there's a lot of progress. I'm grateful to be in America. I'm a proud American, and we'll see where it goes from here. But I'm not. Someone said block them. I don't really know how to on YouTube, but I don't mind. I don't mind interacting. But like people, it's like if you're gonna come here every day and defame me and libel me, this kid, and then apologize when you say it, it's like it's nuts. I am debating somebody. Sticks Hexenhammer 666. That's his name on YouTube. I don't know the reason. He's got like a libertarian vibe. I like Sticks. I think he's a nice guy. He wants to debate me on the whole Trump thing. So I think we're debating tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm not quite sure, on someone's channel. I'll figure out and try to get the footage. But I'll have a debate about this stuff. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I could ignore people, but I'd rather call them out because it's like, why not? Thank you, Adriana. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's on the kill stream, Stinger. Exactly. I think that's where the debate is. Yeah, Sticks is legit. He's a smart guy, but he's gonna lose this debate. And it's not me bragging. I'm not like an egotistical person. I'm an analytical person, and the facts are on my side. Truth is on my side. History is on my side. I don't understand what Sticks thinks he's gonna do because the facts, the truth, and history is on my side. If his debate is he's trying to say that Trump had zero part in the lockdown, and Trump had zero part in the socialist printing scam, which is just totally factually and historically false. So just like everyone else who tries to step to me, I'm going to destroy his logic, and people are going to realize that people they thought were smart before are not nearly as smart as they thought they were. And then we're going to move on and we'll both be successful. But I don't understand why he even wants to debate because he's not right. So we'll see. Anomaly, stay focused. I'm focused. I have fun. I like to talk to people. It's like I just want to let people know too. I'm a human, so I could sit here and ignore people. I don't do that. I sit for 3 hours. Sometimes I talk, like he says. Sometimes he's mad. Sometimes it's a real life conversation. The guy's like, sometimes I clap. Sometimes I'm mad. It's not a fake show. So if people are going to sit there and talk, this isn't a show where you just yell at your TV. You're yelling at your TV. I don't like this guy. I don't like Neil Cavuto. I'm here. Hello, Albert. I'm here, bro. So you want to falsely libel me, defame me, and give me accusational, like say that I'm similar to people that sat in prison for 50 years. I'm going to look at you in the face and say, you're a little punk and you should shut your mouth. And then you're going to feel it because you're not talking to the television. You're talking to a real person. Okay. This is really me. This is my life. This is my thoughts. So if you're too dumb or too emotional or too weak to compete, keep your little mouth shut, Albert, okay? Someone said, yeah, Trump was great at CPAC except the jab stuff. Well, yeah, he's gonna be great and say everything you want him to say, and then he's gonna talk about the jab, and Ted Cruz is gonna say you could take off your mask. It's a great show they're putting on for you, isn't it? It's so fun. It's such a good show. 4 years, where did it lead you? Matt said, can't wait for the debate with Sticks. I like both of you, but I think you have the facts on your side about Trump. Oh, yeah. Sticks is a super nice guy. He's a super smart guy. I like Sticks. I have nothing bad to say about him. I'm just being honest. He's going to lose the debate, and it's just going to be another win for me. But I have nothing bad to say about him. I like him a lot. He's wrong. I was speaking. He decided to, jab at me, not in a mean way. He's a super nice guy. He just said, you're wrong. And I'm like, okay, now it's over for your little interjection. Okay. So super nice guy. I said what I've been saying. He didn't want to hear it. Now we get a debate. It's going to be great. It's going to be cordial. I doubt there's going to be any voice raising. I'm a nice guy. Sticks is a nice guy. It's going to be very productive, civil, respectful, but history and the truth is on my side. So I don't know what angle he's going to come with. It's like a boxing match. When you have two people that are really good at something and you clash their ideas, it's a win for everyone. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're not as good as people think you are, you lose. So that's what's going to happen to Sticks. I think he's super smart, but clearly not smart enough to not disagree with me. So, he's going to take an L. And then we'll move on. We'll both be good. Someone said, Albert said, anomaly, Ted Cruz did not say that. You're putting words in his mouth. What he meant to say is it's time to end the mask mandates on flights. All right, Albert, you went from smearing me as Charles Manson to now saying the reason you're mad is because Ted Cruz didn't say it. For you, I'll read it again, Albert. This is what Ted Cruz said. It's time to end mask mandates for fully vaccinated Americans on airplanes. So, Albert, if he wanted to end mask mandates for everybody, he would have wrote, it's time to end mask mandates on airplanes. That's what Rand Paul does. Rand Paul says it's time to end mask mandates for everybody. Ted Cruz didn't say that. He said it's time to end mask mandates for fully vaccinated Americans. Why? Because he said what he said. There's a way to say that and say all people. He didn't do that. So unless you're a PR team, a little dweeb who sits there and gets paid $50,000 a year to make excuses for Ted Cruz, just shut up, dude. I get it. You're wrong. You're always wrong. We get it. You interject. You call me names. I call you out. You apologize. You say something stupid. I correct your stupid thing. And then you go weasel your way back into the shadows for an hour and shut your trap again. We get it. You don't know what you're talking about. So shut up. If you want to make excuses for Ted Cruz and do a false fabrication of what you think he said, go make a YouTube channel. And I bet no one listens to it because you don't know what you're talking about. So while you're here, it's time to just keep the hands steady for a little while. Maybe do some exercises, some push-ups, but stop using them to interject your stupid ideas onto mine when I'm reading his thing, because it's not working for you, bro. Okay? We get it. You're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Time to give the fingers a break, bro. Ryan said, do you think big tech is too big or powerful for people to fight against their censorship? I think there's ways to win. I think there's ways to win on every level. You just got to decide what's best for you. If everybody played their part, I think there's wins to be made. I really do. For me, for example, and this is not some sort of cop out or anything. Like I'm a deeply spiritual person where if you try to control the world, you fall short. If you try to control big tech, you'll fall short. The only thing that you can do and that I can do is we have to do the best we can. That's all we can do. I can't tell you what to do. I have to be the best version of myself. So I've made the decision just based off what I've built on big tech. What do I value more? Is it the reach? Is it the money? Is it this? Is it that? I have to make a decision. What do I want? What am I trying to get out of this? And I've decided that the most important thing to me is reaching people. So if I'm reaching 10 million people on Facebook, that's a tool. You could say what you want about Facebook, right? They're wildly corrupt. They've made a lot of terrible decisions in censorship, but I'm a nobody, right? I don't have money, or at least I didn't when I started. I'm not that wealthy, but I'm just saying I didn't have connections. I didn't have advertising. I had nothing. Facebook gave me a platform to speak my mind. So do I think what they're doing is acceptable? Absolutely not. There's ways around it, and there's things you could do. If you're Alex Jones, he built a platform. If you're Nick Fuentes, you show up in person. If you're Donald Trump, you sue Facebook. Everybody plays their part, but for me, I want to reach people. I've already reached 650 million people. So for me, I'm not Donald Trump. I wasn't a billionaire. I didn't have money. I went from nothing to spreading my message further than I ever thought I would. So, if my days come for Facebook, I have to take a step then and be like, okay, now what do I do? But for now, I just want to be heard. So if I could still get 250,000 views on a Facebook video, to me, that's a win. I don't care what Zuckerberg gets or doesn't get. I'm saying what I want and people are hearing it. And that's what I want to do. So, I see it through that lens where everybody has to play their role. My role at this moment is I'm not giving up 1.5 million people. That it doesn't make sense for me. I want people to hear what I have to say. And when enough people hear it, that it has its effect. So someone said Jones has spoken on the subject, but I'm just saying, say Alex Jones. Okay. He got banned off of YouTube, banned off of Facebook, banned off of Twitter. Alex Jones is probably one of the most successful people to create his own platform. He owns Band.video. Band.video is doing wildly well. Alex Jones didn't just roll over. He stayed, he got kicked off, and then he created, I would say he probably had some of the most success out of anybody who got kicked off. He almost didn't lose a step, and people still talk about him. So you get what I'm saying? He played his role of like, well, I got kicked off. Here's what I want to do. Everyone has to play their part. And if everybody plays their part in some way, that changes it. Trump is suing big tech. Fleckus is suing big tech. Fleckus has a class action lawsuit with Trump. And if you want to hop on that class action lawsuit, you could go to his Instagram and you could jump on it. There's ways to get involved. It just depends what you want to do and when you want to do it. So for me, I'm crossing bridges as I go, but I like reaching people. And as much I could complain, Tony said, how much are you getting paid by the CCP? Bro, I hope you're joking. But it's like I'm talking about something that's so much deeper that I'm not even talking about politics right now. And you guys won't even let me finish. But in general, you might have been just trolling to make me annoyed. But, I don't know. As bad as big tech has been, there's never been a time in human history that you can go from here to here instantly or in a couple of years with hard work. So, everybody talks about the downsides of it. It's obvious, right? What they're doing. But to me, even when they took away my money, I'm not going to say how much I was making, but I was making so much money for so long on Facebook, and then they took it all away. But here's the thing. I was more mad at them taking my reach away. When they took my money away, I didn't even care. Was it a big hit to my bank account? Sure. But I don't care. I was grateful to even have that 6 months to make the money. And now, when they took my reach away, then I got pissed because no one could hear what I'm saying. That annoyed me. But you get what I'm saying? I could complain about big tech, and I do often. But to be quite frank, I went from being just an average person, and I still am, but reaching 650 million people. I mean, when else in human history could you have been able to do that? So when it gets to a point where it's too far, someone said Facebook and Twitter suck. No, I agree. I'm just in a positive mood today. I'll give you another example. Say Zuby Music, right? Do you guys know Zuby? He's from Great Britain. I think he's originally from Saudi Arabia. Zuby's a hip hop artist who became very famous and successful through Twitter. Does Twitter suck? Sure, I hate Twitter, but you got to use these things to your advantage. Like you could say what you want about YouTube. You're watching me on YouTube now. You could be watching Fox News or CNN. You're still tuning into YouTube to watch me, and people are still tuning into Facebook to watch me. Why? Because it's bad in some ways, but if you could harness it for something better, there's a lot of pros. I mean, every day that I'm not working, I'm listening to financial videos, this and that. Yes, I'm annoyed at what big tech's doing, but while I have this opportunity, I'm still trying to use it to my advantage, and I have used it to my advantage. So if big tech wiped away my whole channel tomorrow, I still got, in my opinion, the better end of big tech. I reached 650 million people. My voice and my videos became more important than billionaires. I mean, how could I really complain about that? Does big tech suck? For sure, but that's how I look at things. I know you might not want to hear it, but I'm grateful for what it is. And if they take everything away from me, then it's just on to the next step in my life. I figure out exactly what I want to do. Someone said, have I ever wanted to give up trying to wake people up? yeah, I mean, I get sad and I get like frustrated, but for me, it's like, it's not even just about waking people up. I try to do my best and then I just keep it moving. I know it sounds like I want people to hear what I'm saying, and in some ways I do, but in other ways, yeah, it gets frustrating, it gets annoying. But I think just like everyone else, I have to realize it's on me. I got to get better. I got to do other stuff. I don't spend too much energy trying to get other people to think like me or to do what I'm doing. I try to spend as much energy, improving myself. And someone said earlier, I just want to give an example. Someone said America's doomed, right? They were upset. You could think that, but at the same time, if America was doomed, I'm not saying it's not, but if it really was, there's still something you could do. You could move to a rural area and join a community and like tune out of what's going on, and you probably won't even notice it. The Amish, they don't know what's going on. They probably haven't. Hey, Iran has it. They're like, what? Who? Like they've blocked out this world that they've created and created their own world. So even amongst the worst thing, I mean, you got to make the most of it. And I think it's easy to do. It's hard to do, but whatever happens at this point. But don't fear, don't stress out. Make the most of it. And if you see certain things, you can make a move. Let me see. What is that? Someone said, Sonny said, that's fine. I know I'm not getting my money back, but it makes me believe you're a liar. Keep the effing money. I'm done. Sonny, once again, email me. Do you want me to tell you my email? You could just go to my website, legendary.vision. This goes for anybody, but legendary.vision, Sonny, LEGENDARY.vision. Email, the contact email. I guarantee I will give you not just your money back. I'll give you more money than you've given me. I promise you. Okay. I just don't want to read super chats where you're jabbing at me saying, I don't want to say things. You won't do this. And then saying things that's, just to be honest, I don't want to read. I don't like the energy, the attitude. I'm sorry that I feel this way, but I do. I'm just letting you know, I will give you the money. I'm just tired of my live streams turning into you like jabbing at me, being passive aggressive. Like, it's annoying. Okay. So I will give you the money back. I promise you. I guarantee you. Just email me at my email, legendary.vision. I don't care if you've given me over $1,000. I'll give you $1,100. You'll make a profit. I promise you. And, I don't want to be rude because I am super grateful of anybody that's ever donated, done Patreon. But sometimes, and this is very rare, most people are amazing. Most people are nice. Most people don't say anything. But certain people, they'll be like, well, I donated to you. And I'm like, let me give you my money back. Like, I appreciate the donation, but it's not like a bribery where it's like, I gave you $20. I give you $100. Now you have to, it's like, yeah, but also I'm a human. So if you're being like weird and annoying, it's like, I'm also a person where I'd rather just refund you and keep it moving. But it's all good. You mean well, I'm sure, but I'm just telling you. I'm not trying to be mean because I'm overwhelmingly grateful and I have thousands of great conversations. And some people, I'm very, very grateful, and I've gotten more than I deserve. And I want to eventually, unfortunately, if things were stable, I wouldn't even use any of this stuff, or at least like I wouldn't care as much about Patreon, but things are not very stable right now. So eventually one day in my life, I hope to have a business that does so well that I could just throw events for people that donated for me. Someone said, be rude. No, I don't want to be rude. I'm just saying. But right now, nothing's really for certain in the world right now. But J-Hold said, you're sensitive AF. I mean, you could say that. It doesn't really bother me. I'm just saying most people don't. Someone said, you have more people with positive comments. Give them your time. Yeah, I agree. I guess I don't. Sometimes it's not even that I only look at the negative ones. I just look, and whatever I see, I see. So I don't mean to do that, but yeah, I feel like that's what makes the show good. If I didn't talk to people, I think it would be boring. So you could say that I'm sensitive, but I'm just being honest. Like I'm very transparent as far as what I'm doing. So that's literally how I feel. I'm not trying to be mean. Anomaly, what about zoo animals? I don't know. I don't know about that. The zoo animals getting a vaccine. I'm not sure if that's a real. Someone said the real woke are meeting in the middle. Someone said haters throwing salt like rice at a wedding. Yeah, I don't mean to only read bad comments. I just kind of look and something catches my eye. Someone said with CCP money, it's a party. It's so crazy because I mean, I don't care what you guys say, but I think one of the things that I do that I try to do is even when I say something about someone, even if I disagree with them, except for Ted Cruz, because what he said is disgusting. It's like I try to be as nice as I possibly can be. I try to be thoughtful. I try to treat others like I want to be treated, right? I wouldn't want someone to falsely accuse me. For 3 years, you had Democrats trying to convince the whole world that everybody who supported Trump was a Russian agent. I got called a Russian agent 20 times by Democrats. I've never even been to Russia because I supported Trump. And now you have Trump supporters who cried about that for 3 years and said they're calling me Russian. Now you're willing to falsely accuse me of being a Chinese agent because you don't agree with what I'm saying, which, to be quite honest, is more conservative than what the Republican Party is saying. I'm saying actual freedom and liberty stuff that they're dropping the ball on. I'm not saying anything crazy like buy more plastic products in China. No, I'm like, we're losing our freedom in America. We're turning into communist China, and that's a problem. And that's what you're mad at. So you falsely accuse me. I just feel like people have no understanding of like karma and how to treat others, the golden rule. Like, you don't like being falsely accused, but you want to falsely accuse me. I feel like it's just, am I mad? No. Do I seem mad? I'm just having a heart to heart with people where I'm like, this, people are so loose with their accusations. Like 60 years ago, if you said somebody was a communist, it's like a real thing, like, yo, they're a communist. Like, that's a real statement. If you're going to say that statement, you should believe in it. There's people that I believe are working for other people, but I'll tell you what I know. And then if I don't know it, I'm an honest person. So I'll say, here's what I think, but I don't know that. If I can't prove it, you can't prove what you said. Why? Because it's completely false. You can't even make 1/5 of a good argument off it because there's nothing you even have to cling on. You just don't like what I'm saying. So you're accusing me of being a foreign agent with literally no proof. And I know that because I'm me and I live my life. You don't know shit about me. So you get what I'm saying? It's like, this is how wicked people are. How are you a good person? What do you know? It's like, you're so quick. Someone said, I remember in 2015, people were saying Anomaly is a liberal plant. People will say anything, and it doesn't bother me, but I'm not saying it like it hurts my feelings. I'm just letting people know I think people should treat other people the way they want to be treated. And I see the correlation of all the wicked, nasty, rotten, wrong things that the left did. You can find the right doing to their own side. It's like you become what you hate. It's deeper than politics. If you hate someone so much, the people that hate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez so much, this is the same crowd crying when I oppose a policy that Andrea Ocasio-Cortez voted for, like the CARES Act, which is a socialist, communist scam bill that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party came together to push. So the people who hate AOC will defend a policy that AOC defends. You become what you hate. It's deeper than politics. Reptile said, keep positive. Don't forget what you're doing. Good job fighting what you believe in. I'm having a good day. This doesn't bother me. I'm enjoying myself. It's been an hour and 8 minutes. I'll hang out we got 1,500 people here between the two. Someone said, criticize people when they make mistakes, praise them when they do good. Nobody's perfect, but I don't even care about it's just people aren't even criticizing what I'm saying. It's like, I didn't call Ted Cruz an agent. I just said what you're doing is gross, and it's the complete opposite of American freedom. I'm not falsely accusing him of something. I'm talking about the content of what he said and saying and it's not just me doing that. Go to his Facebook page. Everybody's doing that because it's the right thing to do. People in my comments, they don't know how to debunk what I'm saying, so they just throw false accusations. I mean, that's like one of the lowest. It's one of the lowest things you could do, but that's life. I'm just having a conversation out loud. Someone said, I've seen so many intelligent people trying to gaslight people and spread lies. Oh yeah, you see it. it's when someone breaks down, and I see this even on the right of people I follow with big followings. They're so intellectual until somebody smarter than them on the right, and they break down and they start gaslighting and calling them names and bringing up old tweets. That would be equivalent of Trump saying build a wall and them finding a tweet from Trump of 2012 and calling Trump a Holocaust denier or something. It's like, you could say what you want about someone. You don't have to like somebody, but if you have to go back to something that Trump did 5 years ago and try to frame it like he's this horrible person, it probably means that you're not smart or honest enough to attack the what you're doing. And it's not just liberals who do that. You know, there's a lot of fake intellects on the right who are so smart until they're not, and then they turn into babies and crybabies, and they stick a label to you, and they stick a label, you're an anti-Semite, you're a racist, he's a white super, like, that to me sounds like what the left does to you. And you could use those words, but at the end of the day, what's the conversation? What's the argument? Explain to me why you're right. If you're smart enough, you don't have to use those words. You can dive at the topic and just break it down with a point. But when they can't, someone said, dude, I wasn't calling you sensitive. It's okay. I don't care either way. Matt said, people attack others personally instead of attacking the idea of policy. People forget how to debate. Yeah, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying I'm trying to just explain to people too. This is like a debating tactic for sure. You know, the one kid, every time his point doesn't make sense, he'll make up like an argument of like, this is who you remind me of. It's like, you remind me of Stalin. Stalin used to drink water and you drink water. It's like, that's what I would say if I was dumb. Someone said, let's talk about PCR. It's more important than the CCP. I'm trying to find my Kary Mullis book, but I left it somewhere. And I have a funny story, but I lost my Kary Mullis book and I just found it today. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I'm not done with it yet, but I've been trying to read it. I read a chapter yesterday. I love that book. Kary Mullis is funny. He's got a book on Amazon, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want me to talk about with the PCR. I've said a lot about it. Philip said, anomaly, I agree with everything you say about Trump, but I'd rather have him than these demon rats. Appreciate that, Phil. That to me, that doesn't bother me. Thank you, Phil. See, I'm a reasonable person. I don't just get mad when people say, but people say all this stuff and then I just say something and it turns messy. They're like, anomaly, it's China. Who told you to say you support the Constitution? Did China? Did Xi Jinping put you up to this? Did Xi Jinping tell you to want your freedom? Did Xi Jinping? It's like, no. Yeah, Xi Jinping. That's who really wants America to be free. I appreciate your comment. I don't mind when people disagree. I just like, people were like, what are you babbling about? I'm leaving. People see it all the time here. They're like, I'm leaving this channel. They're like, this is the last I've had of it. And then sometimes they do this thing where like, I'm having a great time. And then people will try to pretend like I'm crazy. They'll be like, you've lost your damn mind. And you're like, dude, I'm fine. And they're like, you've lost your mind. And then they start gay. Like, that's the type of stuff. If you simply like, hey, I agree with what you're saying, I just would rather him. I'm like, so would I. That's why I voted for him. I voted for Trump. Why? Because I would rather have him than Biden too. Literally, like, that's why I voted for him. It's like, I completely agree. I don't hate the guy. I'm just saying what I say. Like, you've lost your freaking marbles. You see your marbles? They're all over the floor because you've lost them. I'm like, literally no, but it's okay. That's the type of stuff I like. Let's talk about the V isolation or lack thereof. I don't really know what you mean by isolation. Isolation. I'm not following. Someone said we criticize the left for policing thought. We should be careful not to do that with ourselves. For sure. Talk about Dr. Shiva. I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, I've talked to Dr. Shiva before. What's he doing? I haven't heard from him in months. His manager always emails me and asks, he wants me to interview Shiva again. I've just been kind of busy, but I like Shiva. He's a fun guy. I always compliment him on this, but I really like his energy. He has this like pissed off energy. I haven't heard what he said in months, but like he has this like, I love that's real American energy. Like he's like, you can't tell that guy no. And I love it, So I don't know what Shiva's doing or saying or what he's been talking about, but he's the type of person, he's not going to roll over and just be like, oh, I'll vote next. Like, he's got an attitude, and I mean that in a good way. So I don't know what Shiva's doing, but I always love seeing him. He's not a quitter, and he's not a softie. Like, he fights for what he believes in. I don't know. You say talk about Shiva. What about him? Tell me what. I don't know what you want me to say. I like him. I just don't know what he's saying. I've done a Shiva interview. I'll do another one. I've been busy, but I do like talking to Shiva. Rick said, I do highly dislike what Cosby did to those women, but this will sound worse. I am on his side when the government abused their power to lock him up. Well, here's the thing, Rick. I don't know what, like, the case, I don't know what you mean by that, but the case, like, what people say versus what happened is two different things. So if he really did a bunch of terrible things, that's one thing. If everyone said he did that and then he goes to court for one court case and it's not a strong case, to me, that's a different story. So I get what you're saying, but my thing was not, I think Cosby did millions of terrible things and I'm glad he got out. Like, that was never my angle. That could be yours, but mine was like, I've heard all the stories, but what's the story? Like, let me see the court case. And I read the court case and I was like, to me, this doesn't add up. And I mean, rumors and stuff, if you ever get to a point where, and maybe people are in their own life, just with their friends and stuff, like, people will make up rumors about you. So we have to understand with Kavanaugh or Cosby or anybody that it's not about what other people say. It's about what truly happened. And you got to show evidence, I think. But Freedom said, what will it be like in 2022? I really think it's like, it's what people make of it. I really think this. I know it sounds crazy, but if people allow 2022 to be a great year, I think it'll be a great year. If people, don't play the cards they were dealt, I don't know. It could be the craziest year ever. I mean, this last year was really crazy. This year is not that bad so far. They've let loose in America a little bit. They're like, oh, Joe Biden fixed the economy. Joe Biden fixed the country. Oh my God, we're thriving. So I'm like, I was hoping they did this in the sense of leave us alone and pretend like Joe Biden did it. We talked about this in January. I was like, I hope they just leave us alone and try to pretend that Joe Biden did it. Maybe they're doing that to try to win the 2022 election and be like, look, guys, you remember how locked down it was during Trump and how free Joe Biden made you with the vaccine. So obviously I don't like him, but if that's their angle to let me go free, that's fine. Just no mandatory stuff. AM1 said, check out the scientists who exposed the no VRs have ever been isolated. It's the next level to the PCR scam. Kaufman, Cow, and Lanka. I'll check it out. I don't know that much about the V, like isolation in the sense of I didn't know that was the same as viruses, but I'll check it out. Elizabeth said, I appreciate what you're doing, kiddo. One should always seek the truth no matter where it leads. You're trying to do that. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's not, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm not even just trying to act like it's the truth. It's just like, I want people to invest in themselves, focus on themselves. I'm not running in circles around politicians anymore. And I'm not doing it personally. And I'm being transparent with what I'm doing. So I just want people to do that. I don't want you to doom and gloom. I don't want you to fantasize about someone say like Trump's coming back. And I got to say, it's like, no, just focus, what can you do? Because there's people who did a lot of great stuff last year, and then there's people who didn't. So these were the cards we were dealt. I just hope people, we can laugh, we can analyze things, but I don't want to be a doomer and a gloomer. I like to add elements of spirituality, motivation, comedy into the conversation, so it's not so downward. Joni Beck said, I'm disappointed in President Trump and Cruz, but neither as awful as Slow Joe and Camel Toe. That's funny. I agree. I think Joe Biden and Camel Toe, Kabbalah, I think they're pretty bad. I think they're pretty fake. And, I think they've set a pretty low bar. So I totally agree with you. I just want to see, and this is my thing. The left gets worse and the right follows them. We can identify that Ted Cruz and Trump are better than Joe and Kamala, which is awesome. But if they keep going the direction they're going, eventually they're going to be worse than that in 10 years. And then the Joe and Kamala are going to be worse than that. So it's a balancing act to me. I agree with you. I would vote for them probably over the Democrat option. But to me, the buck doesn't stop there. It's not like I can't identify that I would rather hang out with them than Joe Biden. It's obvious. But I think the Republican Party would be wise to really put their foot down against Trump and Cruz. But this is the two-party system. This is how they get you. Well, if you go against Ted Cruz, you're helping the Democrat. If you fight Trump, you're helping the Democrats. Well, if you fight the Republicans, you're fight. They do that to both sides. So everybody and then they just do the same stuff. So I think it's a double-edged sword where it's like, appreciate what they do for not being as bad as Joe Biden, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I think his tweet that he put out is worse than anything Obama did. I think Ted Cruz, I'm going to say this. I don't like Obama. I don't think I voted for Obama. I think I was too dumb to figure out how to vote when I was younger. But in general, Obama never tried to put a mask on me in an airplane. I'm sure he would now, but I'm just saying it's like if the best Ted Cruz can do is segregate society based on who got a pharmacy injection, Ted Cruz is awful. He's worse than any Democrat 10 years ago. And that's the game that they play. So I agree with you. I do like him better than the left, but they become the left. And then they go further left than the left. And then they put on a cowboy hat. This is what they do. They come to CPAC like this and they say, hey, y'all, welcome to Texas. I'm just like you. I just printed trillions of dollars. Yeah, I know 2 years ago that we said that only AOC would print trillions of dollars. I know I just printed trillions of dollars. I know it's communist. I know it's socialist. I know I pretty much just took Andrew Yang's policy and implemented it. But hey, howdy ho, we got to fight those radical left. And if you give $100 to the GOP, we're going to fight AOC. She's crazy. Green New Deal? Cow farts? Are you kidding me? How are we going to fight the cow farts unless you give money to the GOP, damn it? Yeah, I know I turned into her, but if we fight the wall, we got to build the wall, and then we got to stand on the wall and fight the people over the wall. There's gosh darn terrorists mixed in with the illegals. You got illegals and terrorists. And if the radical left gets in, Beto O'Rourke is going to employ them in slave labor. So you got to vote for me. And that's just the game they play where it's like, yeah, they're better than Beto O'Rourke, so I still vote for them. But I see what they're doing. They just put on a cowboy hat and try to sell you socialism. And then everyone's like, well, Tim Scott, now that's a respectable guy. He's boring. He's a nice guy, but he's a boring, stale politician who was like bragging about socialism. He's like, well, Nancy Pelosi and the radical left want to print trillions of dollars. The Republican Party printed trillions of dollars in a bipartisan fashion. Bipartisan. It's like, bro, that's not cool. Like, wow, you worked with the Democrats to print trillions of dollars. Oh, wow. It's like, so tired of these guys. But anyway, Rick said the DA told him he could void his Fifth Amendment rights in a civil case, told him he wouldn't use his testimony, and at their case, he just did that. Yeah, I'm not following, but thanks for the super chat. I'm not too sure about that extent. Someone said, bro, I checked out the FDA statement on COVID, and it's so shady to say it's authorized but not approved, spreading the truth, my man. Yeah, it's emergency use authorized, but it's not FDA approved. It's right off the fact sheet, exactly. But they don't want to tell you that because if people knew that, they would be like, what? Someone said anomaly, they're coming up on 1.5 billion used masks recovered from the oceans. Pretty awesome. It's terrible. The left has been brainwashed into destroying the environment. They're like, we're fixing the environment. These masks, when it's all said and done, way more damage environmentally, physically, mentally, socially. It's unbelievable. That's why I it's easy to dunk on the left because they've gone loco. But I'm like, we're supposed to have a party, and our party's telling me I should wear a mask on an airplane and only unvaccinated. I'm like, I'm going to have a word with Ted Cruz, okay? Unbelievable. All right. I got to stretch out. My back's starting to hurt. Someone said we got played. We did get played. And here's another thing. Okay, while I'm just being unpopular like always, listen, you get your God Bless America hat. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have these. But anyway, I have these. Okay, CPAC. I know people are going to get annoyed at this, but just hear me out. I have to start with, I never thought that much of Mike Pence. I think he seems really nice, but he's a politician, right? He stands there. He's the perfect vice president because he just stands there and smiles, and elderly women are like, now that Mike Pence, now he's a real nice guy. He doesn't eat with other women. He's a Christian politician. It is what it is, right? I was never this big Pence fan. Like you don't expect much of the guy. He stands there, he smiles, he waves. That's the extent of what I thought about Mike Pence. So the only reason people hate him now, he's getting booed all over the place. They're not mad that he printed trillions of dollars, him and Trump. They're not mad that he was one of the main figures of the coronavirus task force with Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci. Pence was a real middleman for all of this stuff, the testing, the money. Nobody cares about that, even though that's the most important thing that he did wrong, in my opinion, just like Trump. No one cares. Why is everyone mad at Mike Pence? They're mad because he didn't save the election on January 6th, and he never could. He could have sent the electorates back to people who already sent them in. It was all like a big staged show. Oh, we sent the electorates in, but we didn't know. We didn't know it was rigged. Send them back, Mike Pence. They didn't really want them back. If they wanted them back, why'd they send them in? Oh, now we know there's fraud. Not they're lying to you. They got scared because MAGA was like, why the hell did you send those in? They're like, oh, we didn't mean to. Oh, the Pence slip, send them back, Pence. It's all like a stage show. They're all lying to you. And I said that before. I'm like, Pence can't overturn the election. If Pence can overturn the election, why would you even vote? Why would you even go vote if Michael Pence is going to change the election? So that's the only reason people are mad at him. This just shows you how brainwashed I think Trump made people. It's like they don't care about the coronavirus task force. They don't care about all these missteps he did. They only hate him for this fictional idea that he was going to save their lives on January 6th. Mike Pence, he was not going to do anything. Someone said, why would Trump be telling people to vote when it's all rigged? I mean, he won in 2016. They won seats in 2018. I think there's something going on, but in general, I don't think Mike Pence was going to do anything. So that's all I'm saying. People aren't mad at all the things he did wrong. They're mad at him for something that he probably should have never done anyway. It's just like crazy to see your party do all this charade stuff, and I'm supposed to act like I don't see it. I can't play along. I just can't. I gotta beat my drum to my own tune. Someone said my life was ruined because of Pence. Wah. Oh my gosh. I just don't think he had the power to do any of the things people thought he was. Someone said the Arizona audits are going on. I hope they're successful. I'm just saying that. Someone said, I'm not gonna read that. All right, let me read this. Shar said, you're one of the ones who opened my eyes to that backstab. I'm not someone to claim that I know who's doing what. I'm just analyzing it, and I'm like, they're telling people to go to the Capitol. He's like, it's going to be wild. Everybody thinks Mike Pence is going to overturn the election, and I'm sitting at home, and I'm like, Mike Pence is not going to overturn the election. He can't overturn the election. The only thing he could do is do something that no one has done in 100 years, which would not even make sense to do. And it would be highly controversial and highly, questionable. And it wouldn't even get the results that you think I got. But people are freaking out. And I'm like, the whole thing was a mess. And people are mad at him to this day for that. But whatever. How's the book coming? Thank you for asking, Lori. It's good. I have so many things at once. So the book is good. I was hoping to write it tonight. I should shut my mouth and start writing it. Thank you, Lori. Tell me to shut up. It's fine. No, I'm just kidding. But it's getting close, but I've recently worked on, and I'm going to send it out tomorrow. I'm doing like 4 things at once. So I started a new YouTube channel. It's called Dream Rare Clips. Check that out. It's in there, and it's on YouTube in my bio. So, I do those 15-minute analysis videos. Now I'm chopping that up into smaller ones. So I have like what is the NFL doing for their COVID policy? It's 4 minutes long. It's little clips. If you don't like watching the whole live stream, Anomaly won't shut up. He speaks for 3 hours. Well, now you can watch me speak for 5 minutes. Someone said you're wrong about Pence. All right, let's debate about it after this. So Dream Rare Clips clip channel started that. USAproductsonly.com. I'm very proud of this, not to overly prideful because then I'd be a sinner. But me and my two friends started a website, usaproductsonly.com. We added 160 businesses. I personally looked at all of them because we check for reviews, this and that. You know, we're not liable in the sense of like you click to their website, but I didn't just want to add every website. So we tried to see if they had reviews, and I did a very good vetting job, I believe. And I'm not saying I'm not liable for any other reason besides like, it's not Amazon, it's not Walmart. I don't buy this stuff. When you go to USA Products Only, you go right to their page. Check out some of the stuff. Woodworkers, you can do the research, but you know how I do research, and I spent hours on this. So we added 160 business. People who follow me, we added woodworkers, toys, we got toothbrushes. We got so much cool crap that people are making themselves, and it took like hours upon hours to get that done. So we're on the next phase of that, 160 plus USA-made businesses, USA Products Only. I'm aiming to be the biggest online website where you can find USA products. So that's that. And my book is coming, but I'm doing songs and stuff. So I'm getting there. It's just, and I do these live streams. If I got to keep doing this stuff, but I promise you, I will finish the book by the end of this year, hopefully by the end of this month. And if I don't, make fun of me and call me a loser until I finish it. Shaming works. I'm going to read this. Eric said, Pence has the constitutional authority to take back the states that had objections. This is where not only I disagree with you, but this is what MAGA said. Okay, so you got 50 million plus people who say Pence had the authority to take back the states. So you all think that that's something that you should do. I don't think that's constitutional. I don't think that that's right. I don't think that that should ever happen. But you think it should happen and it can happen, but your guy didn't do it. So now you're giving the power to Kamala Harris to essentially steal an election from you. Like, do you not see that? Pence he could take the states. Pence can take the states, then sit at home and don't ever vote again because Kamala Harris is going to take your states. That's not how it works. That's never how it worked. If you think it works that way, you've just destroyed your country. No one's saving the country by convincing you that Mike Pence can flip a state. What Mike Pence probably could have done was something that probably he couldn't have done because it hasn't been done since like the 1800s or early 1900s, which is send electorates back to the electorate. It doesn't make any sense. They sent it in, and he's supposed to send it back or overturn what they sent in? Do you hear yourself? Then you should never vote again because Kamala Harris is going to take the election. Oh, no, it's up to her, not you. Oh, no, Kamala has the power to overturn the states. You guys just set yourself up to lose. That's MAGA. Just lose, set yourself up to lose. Do people really think that? Okay, sure, yeah, Kamala's gonna. She should just take Texas. Why not? Why even count the votes for Florida? Kamala should just take it. Someone said, if he pulls the state, they have a debate and go from there. Both sides have to agree there was fraud. Pence could never overturn the election. And if he could, your entire life is ruined because none of your votes matter and your whole country is gone. If what Trump supporters want to be true is true, you don't matter anymore. So you better hope that they're wrong, and they are wrong, so you're lucky. He doesn't have the power to do that. Someone said, do you think she won't? I'm scared now. If there was ever a time that she would do that, it's because of MAGA. MAGA has just they think it's a thing. They don't. This is the Republicans. They say all this shit. They don't do it. And then the Democrats get in power and they do it. So it's like drain the swamp, drain the swamp. Trump doesn't do shit. Now he's out of office. Now they're arresting Trump supporters. I'm not saying it's right. It's totally wrong. But that's what happens when you talk a lot and you talk about arresting people and you don't arrest people. They get into office and they start trying to arrest you. Doesn't make it right, but that's how life works. So either do what you're supposed to do or keep your mouth quiet. So I'm just being honest with the election. It's like, if you think that that's a thing, you shouldn't talk about it. You should just do it. But it's not a thing, but you think it's a thing. So you didn't do it. Pence didn't do it. Trump didn't do it. So Kamala's going to do it. You're setting yourself up to lose. Someone said, well, you just said, but why wouldn't she? Like, MAGA doesn't play 5D chess. Like, that's not 5D chess. Saying that the vice president has the power to overturn states, not doing it, and setting yourself up for them to do it. You get what I'm saying? Unbelievable. Someone said MAGA plays Connect 4. I love Connect 4. Someone said the sunset is beautiful and golden. I agree, Star Lily. Latte Hana said anomaly, keep Texas out of your mouth. Latte Hana, you're another one. You come here every day, and every day you like complain about not liking me or something. It's like people must be obsessed with me. And I'm not like bragging. It's not good. But it's like people come here every day and talk shit to me. It's like I couldn't imagine watching a video for more than 5 minutes that I didn't like. Clearly you like me if you're here for 2 hours every other day. Unbelievable. Someone said cheating ain't winning. People are not listening to me. It's like I don't get how they don't realize that they got set up. Not only was the 6th a setup, but you've set yourself up to get the next election stolen from you. Literally, you've passed this idea that the vice president has the power to do that. Did you ever think that before Trump said it? Did you ever think that before MAGA said it? No one ever thought this entire life. They planted this idea in your head that the vice president has the power to do that, which he doesn't. And now you think it's a thing. So now you're allowing the other side to do it to you because you've like essentially said that you think it's okay. Someone said the Democrats backed out of the deal, so Pence. There is no deal. I don't know. Never mind. I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm not even going to weigh in on it. Mr. Bubak said the election was stolen. The country was, before the election, people didn't even pay attention. I don't want to have this conversation again. March, April, May, June, the country was stolen. Your freedom was stolen. Restaurants were stolen. Business was stolen. And MAGA didn't even seem to care. They just waited till November to run circles around Trump, complain about Pence, get set up at the Do you not see that you're like Tom and Jerry? You guys not get it yet? Like the guy who gave away the country screwed himself in the election and then convinced people that the vice president was going to overturn it and told them to come to the Capitol for a wild event. So a bunch of people that thought that Pence was going to overturn it went to the Capitol, and you thought, never mind. Yeah. Someone said you should debate real Gabrielle Fox on Instagram, tired of running her mouth with false hope. Listen, I don't want to get into specifics, but she commented to me on Fox City Midge's tweet. God bless her. I don't even know who she is. Fox City Midge made a real honest thought of what Trump did, and I commented on it. And real Gabrielle Fox said something rude to me, and I commented to her. I don't even know who she is, but I saw her page. She does these little political things. Keep in mind, I don't just go out of my way to find people and fight. I don't even know who she is. She's talking shit to me. I said to her, the worst video I've ever made would be the highlight of your career. That's what I said. That's like a Mortal Kombat. It's like fatality, you know? It's like a KO. I'm like, the worst video I've ever made would be the highlight of your career. Literally. I'm not being sarcastic. Like literally my worst video would be the greatest thing you've ever done. So you should stay in your lane, sister. And then she's like, no, you're a traitor. It's like, I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I don't even do this. I have a business. This is just a hobby. I'm like, for a hobby, you talk quite a lot. Like that, it's a hobby for me, except I made it into a career. It's a hobby for you because not that many people are listening. So it's like, she's like, it's not my full thing. I'm like, if it's not your full thing, why do you got 50 videos of you talking for like 20 minutes? Yeah. You're not trying at all for this. It's just a side thing. No, you're trying. It's not working. So and to me, that's funny. I just think it's funny to say that. I think it's like a funny comeback. She's hardcore Q. Then who cares? It's like, I don't care what people do. Just don't come in my lane. Like, this is my lane, and you got something to say? She's not trying to flirt. She's just, the military's in control. The military. I read a post on 8chan. It's like, people don't even know. Like, if any, I'm not into that stuff, like 4chan, 8chan. Never been my thing. Never been websites I go to. But if anybody knows the internet, 4chan and 8chan are notoriously the most anonymous place on the internet. People just post, everybody's anonymous. Like, they're just like, you say whatever you want. You say the most, like, it's unfiltered. So people are talking about all sorts of shit on 8chan. This is not a Q code from the military. This is where anyone can literally say anything ever. Anyone. Like, that's what, for anybody that knows the internet knows that that's what 4chan is. It's not like a source where you're like finding a deep intel. It's like anyone can say anything. And people got addicted. Like, I'm reading Q posts on a 4chan board. And you're like, why? Because it's the military. They tell me things that only I can understand. Bro, it tapped into so many people's ego. It's like, they're telling you things on 4chan. They can't tell the public. They can't tell the public. So they tell me on 4chan. Why the fuck? Excuse my language. Why the fuck would they tell you? You're not that important, and I'm not that important. You think I'm so important that the military has to tell me their secret plan? If they tell me, it's not a secret plan. It's a shitty plan. If they have to tell me on 4chan, they do things secretive, aka nobody knows. They don't post it on a fucking, dark web message board for a bunch of like Q patriots to follow. It's in code. The reason it's always wrong is because it's in code. It's wrong because it's code. Well, who can understand the code? Only me and my patriot friends. You're like, can the Democrats understand it? Because they can access this too. It's public. No, I'm smart enough to know what they're talking about. When Q lies, I know when it's a lie. They don't know when it's a lie, but I also know when it's a truth, and they can't. If you could figure it out, they could figure it out. You're not that smart. This is like the most egotistical movement of all time. People think they're so important that the military needs to send them special messages on 4chan and 8chan, but then they also simultaneously think, even though it's public, that only they're smart enough to figure it out, and the enemy just has no idea, because a lot of times it's wrong and disinfo is necessary. So the Q patriots know what's disinfo. It's not. No, they don't. But the deep state is just they can't figure it out, because these Q patriots just sitting at home with like a quilted, like robe on, they can understand. It's like, it's the most egotistical, low IQ psyop ever. Like, I get why people bought it at first, but at a certain point, it's like, it's basic, like, critical thinking skills to be like, it can't possibly be secret if they're telling me. And if I'm confused at what's real and what's not, or I know what's real and what's not, then the enemy knows what's real and what's not, because it's not secret. It's on a message board for the whole world to see. And these are the people that want to say, no, you don't trust the plan, Fox City Mitch. I'm like, I like look at her page and I'm like, the worst video I've ever made would be the highlight of your career. Literally. Stay in your lane. Like, you could take the worst video on my whole profile on Instagram at Dream Rare, take the worst news analysis video I've ever done. It would be 5 times better than anything she's ever done. It would be the highlight of her career. So the least you could do is just not say something negative to me, because it's not going to be productive. Unbelievable. So I said, bro, why you do her like that? I don't have an off switch. I don't know. I was just like, what? No, people just get mad. People become bullies to like Midge told the truth and she was getting bullied. People come to bully like, oh, the left bullies. And it's like, bro, the biggest bullies I've ever seen on the right were the Q people. If you're smart enough to realize that what they're saying isn't even like, accurate as far as what they're saying, they freak out at you. Mossad? CCP? Is it the CCP? Pompeo, I was reading his post. I was reading Pompeo's post and I decided you were the CCP or the Mossad. I'm like, what? Everybody who doesn't follow Q is Mossad. You're like, Do you even know who Mossad is? Mossad is Israeli intelligence. And you follow Trump and Pompeo, who work with Israel. So you're following Zionist Israel Republicans obsessively, like they're the return of the Messiah. And anybody that disagrees with you, you're accusing them of working for the country that you support through the people that you support. That makes a lot of sense. Now, it's wild. Someone said Welp avocados about to be $11. I don't get that, but why? Thoughts on the Kim Clement prophecy? I don't know much about Kim Clement. So, I mean, some people love him. Some people think he's a prophet. He's a good preacher. I'm indifferent. I don't have anything good or I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've heard the Trump clip. There's a trumpet he's not my guy. So I don't really know that much. All right, what time? 1:45. Let's keep this under 2 hours, okay? It's excessive. Someone said, did you write your book? These are the hours. What I would like to do is get off this, eat something, and then write my book a little bit tonight. So we'll see while I still have energy. Albert said, Anomaly, the only reason people watch your live streams is to wait for you to say something dumb and call you out on it. Albert, we're gonna go through today, okay? We'll go through the first day, okay? First day, you said something fake and wrong. I called you out on it. You apologized and backed down. Second day, same exact thing. Today, compared me to somebody who sat in jail for 50 years. I called you out. You came back and said Ted Cruz never said if he's trying to take the masks off everybody. No, he's not, Albert. That's literally in his tweet, the opposite. And then you just wait an hour. Bro, that's fine. If you want to watch, I'm sure I get ad revenue from it. It's not all about the money, but I'll take it. Okay. But in general, that's not the reason that everybody watches. That's why you do. Some people do, but you should start a page, bro. You're so smart. He's such a smart guy. And he's like, when I see him comment, I think to myself, what would it be like to be that smart? Seriously, my inferiority comes out and I just feel like, duh. I start feeling like a caveman. I'm like, wah, duh. I'm like, and then I see him and I'm like, wow, now that's a real deep thinker. I'm thinking like Albert Einstein, Watson and Crick. So you should start a channel because you are just so smart. You should start a channel and you should broadcast that message to the masses, and you should just outperform me with your wisdom and knowledge and just deep analytical takes on Trump and Ted Cruz. You really got it, man. You got it, okay? Not everybody has it. It's like seeing LeBron at a young age. You know what I'm saying? He's like 6'3". He looks like he's 25 years old. He's 14. He's like dunking in middle school. Like, that guy's going to be a star. That's like when I look at my chats, I see Albert. He's like, you remind me of Charles Manson. I'm like, that guy's going somewhere. That guy needs a platform. So, I really think you should start a channel. And me, I wouldn't spend a few minutes there, but I'm sure people will watch you for hours like you watch me. Lorraine said Anomaly is very smart, but he needs more biblical wisdom. Lorraine, now that's a smart woman. I look at Lorraine and I think, I wish I had the biblical wisdom of Lorraine. Lorraine, you should start a Facebook page and shower down biblical wisdom that I just lack, and I'll soak it up like a Bible in a rainstorm. And I'll be a more godly person for it. So let me know, Lorraine, if you start a channel with all of that biblical knowledge I lack, and I'll soak it up like Sheryl Crow soaked up the sun in that one song. Someone said Prince Albert in a can. I don't even know what that means, but it just sounded funny. Prince Albert in a can. I don't know. Telino said, yeah, we get it. No, we do. Someone said, "What's up, bro? Are you really coming on every day just to debate keyboard lames, bro?" I think there's it's not all about, like, sometimes people send me stuff on Instagram and they're always just trying to, like, watch this. Like, sometimes you just got to calm down. So when I'm live, I'm actually having a good time. I'm not like, I think it's pretty funny. So everyone's laughing, and that's like comedy. Do you go to a comedy show and be like, why? It's like, sometimes you just laugh. I'm not fighting keyboard warriors. It's just funny. It reminds me of being on stage and you get heckled, and then you're like, hey, you in the cowboy hat, sit down, Tonto. And everyone's like, it's kind of like that. I wouldn't say I'm just here fighting. I do live streams and I hang out because I genuinely enjoy it sometimes. And today's one of those days. Someone said, can you make a buff Doge beanie like the God Bless one? I have a beanie. I don't know about a beanie, but that's a possibility. And I don't mean to be mean to, what was her name? Sunny. I don't know if she's here. And I'm not trying to be rude, but like some people, it's like, he's not going to do that. He won't talk about that. It's just kind of like a weird vibe. I'm not trying to be mean, and I will refund you. But like, sometimes it's just these like aggressive statements that I don't want to read that I wouldn't say myself. So I'm like, I don't feel like reading this. And then it's like jabbing, like I'm not going to do something. I'm just like, I'm good right now. And I apologize, but it's just like, I just don't want to do that right now. Someone said, please don't listen to Jesse Lee Peterson for life advice, especially not Christian advice. I like Jesse Lee Peterson. I think he's very entertaining. I think he does say a lot of things that make sense, but I wouldn't say I look up to him for advice or anything. But honestly, I think he's like, the I don't want to say the last of a dying breed, but I think Jesse P's like a special person where a lot of things he says are things that are true. Like there are, I can't speak on everything that Jesse says, but there are a lot of connections, I think, to mother and father and certain things in life that really do impact other things. And I feel like Jesse says that quite often. And he's a very funny guy, but there's also a lot of truth to what he says. So, I mean, I wouldn't say he's my pastor or anything, but I do enjoy his channel. And, I think relationship and life advice, I wouldn't say I look up to him, but I do find his little back and forth very funny. I've been to Jesse Lee's church. It wasn't really church. It was just like a Jesse Lee Peterson show on a Sunday. But it was interesting. It was fun. So yeah, I like Jesse, man. I consider Jesse a friend. I think he's an interesting guy. I'm not going to say he's my mentor or anything, but I think his channel has a lot of value. If you like it. Jesse is he's a rare guy, man. And I'm glad he's still around doing what he's doing. And I hope he does it for a long time. Someone said, how about a podcast like Rogan? I'm thinking about it. It's just like, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Okay, so I do live streams for a long time. I like it. It's fun. It stays up. It's like a podcast. You could tune in. You could ignore it. It's fine. I do so much content already. I just don't know if I want to do a podcast. But part of me does want to do something different. I don't know. I just don't know. And I'm doing so much. I'm writing a book. A lot of people that do what I do, first of all, I'm just gonna be honest. They don't live stream as much as I do. They don't make as many videos as I do. They're not music artists where they do shows and they do songs. So I'm already juggling 3 things at once, and most people aren't. So it's hard for me to pick up a new thing, but I'd be willing to do it. Just let me know what you guys like. All right, I'm gonna read Albert's comment. I'm actually enjoying it, bro. I'm having a great night. I hope you are too. Albert said, anomaly, you have a severe case of low self-esteem if you had to go after that chick who called you out. I feel like, Albert, I feel like you're projecting onto me because I don't have a low self-esteem. But in general, I think it's like you're thinking that because I also talk to you. I didn't come after anybody. I'm a human, Albert. I know you think I'm like something else. You think I'm a robot or I'm like something that I'm a human. Just like you, Albert, I'm a human being, okay? With thoughts and ideas. I'm a real boy, okay? You see me in person, you realize I'm a real person. So I don't even know who you are. This idea that I come after people, I didn't even know who you are. I still don't know who you are. You have a better idea of who I am than I don't know anything about you except for what you've typed. I don't even know what you sound like. I barely know what you look like. So same with this chick. I don't even know who she is. I didn't know who she is. She came after me, and I won't even say came after. She commented to me. And this idea that you're not allowed to respond, I'm not a robot. I don't have an agent or a manager. I don't have anybody tell me, yo, you probably shouldn't say that. And that's what makes my show fun. If I did, it wouldn't be my show. So when you say something or she says something, it doesn't translate to I have a low self-esteem. It's you came after me, you said something attacking me and being rude, and I respond with something funnier. So with her, I said, my worst video is better than the best video you've ever made. It would be the highlight of your career. It was hilarious. I got my friends texting me being like, bro, that was the funniest thing I've read all day. When I make a joke about you, everybody's laughing. So I turned it into like a little comedy routine. So this idea that it translates to to low self-esteem, I think you're projecting because you're hoping that's what it means, because the same response I had to her, I responded to you. But I don't come after people. You find me, you target me, you respond to me, and then I respond to you in a better, funnier way, and then you cry the victim, and then you project your low self-esteem onto me. I should be like a psychologist. They should pay me to like psychologically break down. It's just like you keep digging yourself in a deeper hole, and I just keep hitting home runs. But it's okay. God bless you. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate it. Dustin said Prince Albert's a flat earther in a can. Thank you, Dustin. I like flat earthers. I don't hate on them. If they want to come here and talk about domes and earth and, space, I don't hate. I'm not someone who hates on what people are thinking. I just respond to people who say stuff to me. And I'm a little bit passionate about freedom. So when people say, anomaly, how did Trump do socialism? I don't know why they sound like Seinfeld, but I just make them sound like Seinfeld in my head to make it funnier. I respond and I get passionate sometimes. I really don't get angry. I could get slightly annoyed sometimes, but to be honest, I think it's fun. I'm not even remotely mad now. I literally think it's funny. Like, I can't laugh all the time or else it would be weird, but in my head, I'm like, tee-hee-hee-hee-hee. That's pretty funny. Someone said, Zane, that's funny. I'm not reading that. I'm not trying to like pick on people, but it's like if I commented on someone else's picture and then all their supporters dunked on me or something, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, they're bullying me. It's like I did that to myself. You went there. Like I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm like, I don't understand how this works. It would be like if I went to someone's live stream and I start talking shit, and then the person who's live streaming responds, and then I'm like, what the hell? Why are you attacking me? Bro, that's like, I seriously don't get it. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be mean. It's just like, it's something I would never do. And anybody who said something to me, you get what I'm saying? I would just say it back. I remember one time Gavin McGinnis made fun of me, and he said that I had long hair with I don't know, he saw a picture of me maybe before he knew who I was, and he was like, anomaly, or like this guy, he didn't know who I was. He said, this guy has long hair with a suit. He looks like I don't know, it's like someone wearing a suit with a backpack or something. I don't remember, but he was making fun of me. It was pretty funny, but also it was a little bit jabby. So then I made fun of him. I don't think he cared at all. Like, we had like a little back and forth. He might have not even seen it, but in general, it's like, he would never, like, if you start something and someone says something back, you then can't act like, what the heck? Where did that come from? It's like, come on, bro. It's okay. It's funny though. Someone said the natural progression of gaslighting, playing the victim. Yeah, it's pretty wild. And this is what journalists do to me too. They write this stupid story. I do an expose on how stupid their story was, and then they go on private and they're probably like, oh my God, I just got cyberbullied. And you're like, I don't even know who you are. If you just shut your mouth, I don't even know who you are. And then you write about me and I respond and then they cry and go on private. It's like, yeah, that's the real world. Like when I talk about Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk, do you think I would cry if Charlie Kirk responded and said, Emily, I don't like him? I'd be like, what? What? It's like, no, that's okay. That's fine. I get it. He's allowed to respond and Ben would be allowed to respond. And then we could have a debate if they wanted to. But it's like, that's just how it works. Someone said my live things are broken. Yeah, I'm aware. I got to go in like 2 minutes. All right. Well, it's fun. I think it's funny though, but maybe not. Someone said calling names and playing the victim mentality has become a game plan. Well, it's not even that, but like if Albert was a journalist or somebody, like what people don't understand is like you could say what you want, but there's multiple reasons why I try to be accurate. And when I say it's my opinion, I say it's my opinion. I don't make these say like that person is working for that thing. Like that's a big statement. If you're a journalist and you do something like that, you could get sued for defamation and liability, rightfully so. You can have your opinion, but the second that you're stating for a fact and really trying to destroy somebody's character off of a totally provably false thing is consequential. So on YouTube, you can say whatever you want, but it's like, I don't even know who this guy is. And he's trying to compare me to somebody who sat in jail for 50 years. So I don't even know who you are. And you're trying to say that I'm a cult leader who sat in jail for 50 years. So you're essentially trying to put that on me. That's some type of stuff that would get you in trouble, Albert. You know, if you were a journalist or like, you would be in some real hot trouble. And if you did that to somebody in person and acted how you're acting towards me in person, you'd also get yourself in trouble. So it's like, you should think about what you say. It's not just disagreeing with me, constantly smearing me, constantly defaming me, constantly libeling me, constantly trying to falsely compare me to people who I have nothing to do with, who aren't even remotely similar to what I do and what I talk about. And then you cry the victim when I talk about you. You're a pathetic, wicked weirdo, loser, coward, low IQ, low self-esteem. Like, you're lucky it's just YouTube comments, because if you had any sort of serious clout or movement somewhere, you'd probably end up in court and poor. So it's like, you got to, you could say you remind me of somebody like this, but at a certain point, unbelievable. Thank you, Matthew. Someone said, remember Nixon called the moon on a landline? Did he do that? Is that something I should search for? Let me see. Someone said, I believe I will write my anomaly review on Monday. I don't know what that means, but hopefully it's a good one. If not, is that like a Rotten Tomatoes? You're like, anomalies, new live stream sucked. 1 out of 5. Someone said, I don't care about smearing anyone if you don't have power. It's free speech. But if you tell lies about to millions and censor them completely, it's serious. Well, I'm just talking about in general. I mean, I just think the world would be a better place, in my opinion, if people treated people the way they want to be treated. I don't go out of my way and harass people on their own platform. If I did, I would expect them to talk shit back to me. Like, that's just the human nature. So it's like, everybody wants to change the world. What are you so mad about? You're mad at Democrats. You're mad at this. This just shows you human nature. Everybody wants the other side to be great people and to be moral people, but they can't even do it themselves. And that's why the country and the world is wicked. It's not just the liberals and the Democrats. It's the fact that you have all these hypocrites and all these people that you expect so much, but you don't even want to do it yourself. How are you going to fight the left when you sit in my comment section? You can't even be even remotely respectful. Cassie said, release a song called Pawn on the Board on Spotify. Let me know what you think. Best rapper you haven't heard of. God bless. Thank you, Cassius. Thank you, Darth Larper. That's a funny name. It doesn't bother me. I'm just saying it's funny to me. I'm trying to give people like a TED talk it's like I'm not just trying to beef with people. It's like a TED talk of like, if you want to do something with your life, go do it. Like seriously, go create something. But you probably can't. That's why you spend so much time here. But it's like, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying these people that are saying all this stuff. If you think that you're so much better than what I'm doing, I'm not being mean. I literally want you to go create it because the world needs better creators. The world needs more honest people. The world could use people that are way better and way more honest than me at what I do. I promise you. The world would be much, much better. So it's not that I'm even beefing. It's like I like to talk about other things besides politics. And I think human nature, psychology, how people treat each other online is interesting to me. And it's not just like people say this, and I'm glad you did, but I don't care if smaller people smear people. It's when people in power do it. But here's the thing though. Who are the people in power? Maybe at the higher levels, they're like a certain bloodline, but at a certain point, people are in power or people just like you. So if you can't be that type of person at that level, who would you be if you got to the level of Joe Biden? You'd be that same piece of, you'd be just like him. So this idea that you shouldn't act the way you want other people to act, you can act just like them, but they should act. That's why they don't act like that. Because if you can't act like that, why would they act like that? Oh, they're just going to submit their power to you and you're going to be a dick on a small level, but they can't be a dick on a high level. That is the problem with human nature. And it's the same reason term limits wouldn't work. People say, well, term limits will solve everything. Why? So you could replace Nancy Pelosi with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and then you could place Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez with Ilhan Omar, and then you could replace her with Ayanna Pressley, and then, their sons and daughters. So it's like, term limits won't work because people don't understand the philosophy of time doesn't make people better. It's a certain energy and a certain thought process. AOC would potentially be worse than Nancy Pelosi, if that's even possible. You get what I'm saying? So someone said hypocrites. It's just like an energy of like, if you act a certain way, you can get to a certain place. If you don't act the way, you're not going to get there. If you expect others to do what you can't do, they call it the golden rule. I'm certainly not perfect. There's certainly interactions that I wish I could have back and certain things that I could have done a better job. I'm not saying that I do things perfectly, but one thing I think I do above a lot of other things is I think about what I say in the sense of if I disagree with Charlie Kirk, I'm not going to smear him and call him names. I'm going to say, I appreciate what he's done. I appreciate this. I did a whole video complimenting him. I just say, I don't like this, and this is why I don't like it. And I try to be as thoughtful with my critiques as I can be. Why? Because it's honest, but also if somebody were to critique me, I would want them to be honest. If somebody thinks I'm wrong about something in a certain way, I would love to hear it. But if you want to say I'm a CCP agent or Charles Manson, you're not trying to have a real discussion. You get what I'm saying? And that's the stuff that the left does to the right. And then the right does it to the left. And then they'll call Nick Cannon an anti. And then everyone's just talking shit to each other. That's the energy of the world, is everybody wants other people to act like something that they can't even work with. So the way you change the world is by changing yourself. I'm certainly not perfect. There's certainly interactions that I wish I could have back. But I do think that I do that more than other people. When you see my news analysis and my journalism, I don't play the fence to play the fence. I say what I know. I say what I think, and I'll tell you that I think it. If I don't know it, how many right-wing and truther people out there will just say whatever they think? They don't know. They'll say this. They'll say that. They'll say this. They'll say that. They'll say it with confidence. They'll look at you in the eye and say, I have sources, and they don't know what the F they're talking about. How is that going to fight fake news? So it's deeper than even politics. It's like, and my roommate made me realize this 10 years ago. I lived with a few people, and this one guy was so interested in politics. He was always bashing the left and bashing the right. And if I ran for governor, and he would get drunk. And to be honest, he was just kind of a scumbag. And I remember I'm thinking to myself, this is before I was even interested in politics. This guy's the biggest critic, but if he were in that position, he would be worse than them. And that's what you see in this country. You got a bunch of people fighting and a bunch of people looking up and expecting things that they themselves are not even willing to do. And that's why nothing gets done, because you can't expect someone else. So that's when I respond to people, I don't even know who you are 5 minutes ago. I wouldn't know who you are if I didn't see what you said. And there's times that I said things that I regretted. Absolutely. I'm sure hundreds of times. But I do try to be somewhat thoughtful when I talk about and critique other people. because that's how I would want to be treated. And you don't see that in politics. People are ruthless. People are nasty. People say run for office. Run for office? Why? So people can treat you like complete shit. People destroy your life, pick through everything you've ever done, lie about it, exaggerate it, find anybody from your past that doesn't like you to say whatever they want, flip a story 180, just ruin you, throw you to the curb, write 50 articles about you, and try to disgrace you. Yeah, run for office. Are you kidding me? These people are so nasty. The media is disgusting. Both sides of politics will do anything for a click. And I've realized that when I got written by right-wing news. I saw certain things that right-wing news said, and I'm like, they just want clicks. They just want to get clicks off my name, even getting me in trouble by just trying to hype up a big fight between people I don't even want to fight with, where it's like, it's all, people don't care about people anymore. So if you want other people to care about you, you got to care about other people. And I just don't see that in politics. It's a ruthless game. And when I talk to other people, I talk to a lot of people, you could tell the difference between people who really have the spirit, and then you could tell the difference between people who are just saying things and just, I'm going to yell at that guy, like Juan Williams or something. Like, the dude's a total liar. He goes on Fox News and he just argues and they argue with him. And it just sucks. But that's like the entertainment. Like, this guy sucks. This guy doesn't suck as bad. He's actually kind of cool, but he's going to yell at the guy who sucks and they're just going to yell at each other. It's like, I can't stand that stuff. So, but it's deeper than just left and right and black and white. I know it sounds corny, but I'm trying to do more than just argue with people or complain, because it's bigger than that. And that is, earlier I talked about this, but you have Democrat areas that are really clean and safe. How come Chicago is very dangerous on the, I guess, what is it, west side or south side? South side? South side of Chicago is really dangerous. But what about the other side? The other side's very liberal too. How come it's not so dangerous? They have the same politics. Well, doesn't Vermont vote for Bernie Sanders? How is Vermont so clean and safe? How come the Democrats don't destroy Vermont? How come the Democrats don't destroy, rich liberal areas? It's because a community outside of politics, whether you vote for Biden or Bernie or Trump, it's a net sum of the people who live there. So if you live around a bunch of gang members and people who are willing to kill their neighbor, then crime goes up. If you live around a bunch of people who sit and watch CNN and don't even leave the house, there's not going to be that much crime. So, even deeper than what politics you vote for, which is important, no question, the community is really a net sum of the people who live there, their energy, their mindset, their experiences, what they're willing to do and not do. And that's what makes our country. So, the biggest thing I would say that Trump did outside of policy, or even bigger than policy, was the culture and the energy. He made it cool again, I think, to a certain extent, to say things that were not politically correct, that were actually honest. Like, yeah, it's stupid to just be so liberal that your whole neighborhood goes to shit. And Trump said that. So bigger than any policy, because I don't really think he wielded that power that effectively, but he did wield his mouth and his Twitter for a while, and he got millions of people to realize that declining slowly is not that cool. And I always appreciate him for doing that. But that's like, once the mindset and the culture shifts and people there really are bad people out there, and there's people who can't act right, and people need to put their foot down, America could shift overnight, whether Biden's in office or Trump's in office. And just like you saw with Trump, 4 years of Trump, 4 years of the rhetoric, the country still ended up, I would say, on a decline. He left office and it was way lower. That's not to blame him. And this is where people misconstrue it. It's like, I will say what he did take account of responsibility for, but in general, that's, there is no like fix it, Mr. Fix It guy. It's like, if good people in this country aren't willing to step up and put their foot down and contribute in some way and just kind of sit on the sidelines, then the country is going to decline. Trump could be in office for 20 years. I don't think he would solve it. It has to be people in their own community, in their own life. And that's all you can do. Your life starts with what you do. And then if everybody did a little bit better, the country would get a little bit better. Someone said money matters, but I think money also, it also keeps people closed down. So how many people, here's a question. How many people do things that they don't really want to do for money? I mean, I would say the whole world does that. Like no matter, even if you love your job, there's going to be certain times when you don't feel like doing it, but you do it just to make money that day. But the money interests are pushing people towards a direction that isn't right. So it's not to say you shouldn't get your money and feed your family, but in people's spare times, I do think they should work towards their hobby and their passion, because, everyone has a passion project. That's what you really want to do, not what you're doing. And the grass is always greener on the other side. You could do your dream and realize it's not your dream, so you shouldn't feel bad. But, they got humans who don't want to do certain things, doing certain things, and then staying silent about what they truly believe in. And that's the big problem in America. Most people are good people, but they're most silent about the things they believe in, and they're most vocal or compliant to the things they don't believe in, because they know that's what will, that's the safe route. There's a good tweet that I posted on Facebook the other day. Some guy said, life is like the movie The Matrix. When I believed the media, it was easy to go along with the system. As soon as I stopped believing the media, it became like the Matrix. Once you learn what's real, the whole system turns against you. And I think that's what the Matrix is about. Take the red pill and I'll tell you the truth, but you'll never be the same. Or take the blue pill. You go back to work, you don't know what's going on, and it's a safe route. That's just like life. So I think, once you know what's right, the whole system turns against you. And it's tough. It's tough. But it's deeper than Trump. Like, if Trump won this election, and this is what I try to talk about, I support people's right to do an audit. I support anybody's right to try to make sure the vote count is fair. I support voter identification, obviously. But people are trying to get back to this thing where, like, they think that if Trump was in office, he would be able to do all this stuff, where I'm not blaming him, but I'm just saying in 2020, he was there. He didn't stop the lockdowns. He didn't stop the Operation Warp. He didn't really stop anything. He didn't stop the mass mail-in ballots. So why do you think going back to that guy is going to get you everything you want? It's not. It's just going to make you feel more comfortable and put somebody in there that you will do a little bit more. But people think it's going to bring this thing. It's never going to bring that. If Trump was in office, what would have changed with the states? Maybe, and I'm not for sure, but maybe they would have locked down again. Maybe we would have been less free if he got into office, because instead of the Democrats trying to open up and say, look, we saved the world, they might have tried to close down harder and be like, look, Trump's killing people again, and we got to close down again. So, this idea that if Trump was in office, he would have saved our freedom or something, it's like, I really don't think so. And it's not a shot at him. It's like, people need to realize that they're part of this game, or they're not. But if you're part of it, if everyone did a little more, if everyone did a little better, if everyone complied a little less to things that didn't make sense, if everybody contributed in some way in their off hours, I think things could change. And in order to make this happen, and music, when I like music, I always had jobs. I always went to school. I did terrible at school, but I always worked really hard outside of it. Like, I put in, before you even probably knew who I was, unless you followed my rap music in 2008, which a lot of people did, I put in tens of thousands of hours. I mean, I probably worked more my freshman year of college away from school towards my career than most people will in their whole lives. And I did that every year, busting my ass for 10 years, and I still bust my ass. I do more live streams than most people, more breakdown videos than most people. I do a lot of work, and some people do a lot of work, but I like it. I like doing it. So I think that's, if you have a passion project or whatever, just spend a little time on that. And if everyone did that, the country would be a little better. I'm going to read this comment, but I don't have to, but I'm just going to do it. I think it's actually funny, like the end of it, this guy's spamming, and I shouldn't give spammers like the attention, but anyway, he said all presidents are selected by Chabad, Lubavitch, Kushner's end times cult, quit gatekeeping. And he said gatekeeping with gay, like saying that I'm gatekeeping with a gay. bro, you could, I mean, the spam might have worked for you, but like you could just say what you want, bro. You don't have to do it with like an accusational thing. If you want to say that, you could just say that and not be like, you're gatekeeping for the gays. It's like, bro, I just read your comment. If I was gatekeeping, why would I read it? So you don't have to get so mad at me. And I'm not trying to make this another TED Talk, but a lot of people with your ideology, the issue is not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. So I think if you weren't so angry and like attacking of people all the time, more people would listen to what you're trying to say, because I get what you're trying to say and I understand it, but you don't have to be so nasty about it all the time. I think it would be more effective, but it's up to you. You can say that. I don't care. Someone said, I live in Montana. My life here is pretty amazing. Stop with broad generalizations. I don't even know what you're talking about. You have like a Trump emoji as your thing, but what did I say about Montana not being amazing? From what I know, I love Montana. I've never said anything bad about Montana. I never said anything bad about you. I never said anything. I mean, the last 5 minutes, I don't think I said anything negative about anyone at all. And you're like, well, I like Trump, so Montana, how dare you? My life's great. What's your deal? I'm like, did I say your life wasn't good? Can you rewind when it's done and find the part where I said your life is horrible? I don't think I would ever say that, because that's literally like the opposite of what I always say and what I always try to inspire in people. But it's like you love Trump so much or something that you heard something that I never even said and accused me of, like, got defensive about where you live, when why I love Montana. I don't know why people would ever whatever. I'm just doing just fine. I'm like, good. That's awesome. I'm super glad. And I don't think I ever would say you weren't or suggest. It's just like, but that's what I'm talking about with politics. Like, I see you have the Trump profile picture and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, you like Trump so much, you're like lashing out at me, getting upset about something I never even said. It's like a programming thing. I'm doing good. What the freaking? We're great up here. What are you talking about? Stop doing generalizations. It's like, what? Like, what? Did you watch too much Fox News or something? Like Judge Jeanine, like screaming at you that you're like getting upset. What? I didn't even say anything about any of that stuff. People get so weird sometimes. I'm not trying to be like, what? I'm having like this nice, calm conversation, and she's like lashing out, like defending her home state. I don't think you'll ever find me saying anything bad about Montana ever. I don't think that's ever going to happen. So I don't know what you were hearing or what part of what I said. Even now, Jocelyn said, you're screaming at me. My goodness. Hold on. I got to stretch. My back is starting to hurt, but all right, I got to go. I'm not trying to scream at you. I was trying to be funny, but I don't know. Someone said, nope, you're not. Jocelyn, what? I don't get it. Is that not, what are you talking about? Like, you're hearing a totally different conversation that's not being had. I'm not yelling at you. But it's okay. I got to go. My back is hurting so bad. All right. Someone said just 2 more minutes. I suck with time. Anomaly people's time. It's not racist. It's true. Anomaly people's just, I'm never on time and I'm always too late, but appreciate y'all. Someone said focus on the positive. Guys, it's fine. Just have a good day. My Clips channel is in the comments, so subscribe to Anomaly Clips. My buddy's helping me do that too. So just a side note, it's not monetized yet, but when Dream Rare Clips is, so I have a really good friend that I've been friends with since I was younger. And, I would love to have him working full time for me. I don't make enough now, and I don't have opportunities to even, let people in to that much, but I'm letting him help me with that channel as far as the thumbnails and stuff and uploading. I hope that channel one day makes enough money that my friend could work with me full time. And he also could do other stuff. Like I'm letting him answer some management emails and stuff. So let's see that. Just subscribe to the Dreamer Clips. One, it's a clip channel and easy to share clips, but also it's like I'm trying to work towards my goal. Last year, I really solidified for myself to not be super broke. And this year, the dream would be employing my friends and hopefully family and stuff to the point where, I could give them full-time salaries. I'm not even close to that yet, but that's really the only thing I'd want to do, because I don't have this insatiable thirst for like power. Sometimes people are like, I need $1 billion. Like, I just want to be left alone. But if I could employ my friends and certain people in my family and keep my team small of like 5 people, USAproductsonly.com. My friend who I lived with in Los Angeles, great guy, my neighbor, I met him, and his brother. That's who runs that. My best friend since I was in 5th grade. These are the people I want to work with and get money to. And the guy with merch, I mean, he just is really good at merch. He's done it for a while. He supports the channel. He watches. He said he could do it. He did do it. So he's making a good amount of money and off the merch and stuff. So that's how I operate. I'm not trying to work with everybody out here. I'm not trying to put out resumes and meet people. I'm only people I know, only people that are, involved. And so subscribe to that channel because there's multiple reasons. Good small clips, but also maybe one day we'll employ my friends. So thank you guys. Thank you, Tapatio. Thank you, everybody. Sorry to anybody I had a bad interaction with that got mad or something. Sonny, God bless you. I love you. I'm just saying, with the jabs and the chats, it's okay. Let's move on from it. And to Albert, God bless you, brother. Start a channel. Be the best you could be, Gary Vee style. Start a business, entrepreneur. Live your dreams. You know what I'm saying? I hope you get something positive out of this because, whatever it is, I want to see you succeed and thrive. And everybody else, the positive people, all the people on Facebook, YouTube, comments I see and don't see. Appreciate you guys. I have fun. I hope you don't think I'm just complaining all the time. I actually do think it's funny, like to have interactions. It's very weird. It's like text. I'm talking, I'm making jokes. I find it very interesting. Like it's like we live on a computer. Everyone's yelling at me. I think it's funny, but maybe some people not so much. But hopefully we have a good time. And I'll be back with new videos this week. Appreciate y'all.